gracious.
All right, let's get that one in there. Let's go. Welcome everybody to Canuckleheads number 7. It is Memorial Day for some people out there. I don't know if it's Memorial Day yet, but it's a Memorial Day weekend.
Yes,
we are remembering things, and what better way to remember things than with that wonderful, wonderful presentation right there.
Wow. Yeah, you're right, Crumb. I appreciate that. That's absolutely hilarious on so many levels.
Yeah, I figured you guys might enjoy that a little bit.
So, Crumb, it's usually the two of us. Who's this guy? Who's this person?
Gippy. That is Gippy. So, coincidentally, one of our first, it was our first Patreon. Total coincidence. We were having Gippy on anyways because Gippy turns out to be one of the former Anime North staffers.
Really?
Same thing with somebody that we both know, Mr. Hop.
Oh, really? Yep. Is he here today?
Yeah.
Oh, that's me. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I forgot about that. You know, sometimes 6 years kind of just disappears like mental scarring. But before we get into my problems, what are we pitching here, Crumb?
We are showing our merchandise here. So this is the official Canuckleheads store on Teespring. The link is in the description below. Same thing with the Patreon if you guys want to join. We got some pretty cool stuff. We got a Canuckleheads merchandise. This is shirts that go all the way up. We got I'm gonna have this actually pretty soon. This fleece blanket.
That looks so fluffy.
Just in time for summer. I'm gonna have a fleece blanket. And we have these stickers as well.
Stickers.
Spectre is here.
I don't believe.
We got Gelthwalker. We got Gamerhand Jr. Well, everybody in the chat. Welcome everybody. Ludonauts, you guys are amazing.
I don't believe we have all this wonderful, fantastic merch.
I know.
My goodness.
Punished here some Baileys. I gotta start doing it.
Throw that T-shirt image back up there if you don't mind.
Let me just pull that up right quick.
There
Boom! There we go.
Look at that, just in time for the summer/spring season.
We got T-shirts.
Yeah,
front, back, all over print. It is good stuff. Designed by yours truly.
Yes,
I would sign it if I could, but I can't. Teespring won't let me. So,
well, we could always send a thank you card or something like that type of thing. Yeah. So,
you get if you join the Patreon and something. I don't know if you saw it yet, Kippy. There's a 10% off code for Patreons for Teespring, so you can get that.
Don't check it out. Yeah,
10% off. My goodness gracious,
10%. What are we doing? We're giving it away at this point.
I know. Why we want to do that? How we're going to feed all the hungry Canuckleheads if we keep giving stuff away for free. Oh, what's that?
Spectre saying going on 3 months now, and Jen Mallet is still yet to take down the YouTube channel. I've heard some funny stories about her getting taken down a couple notches.
Is this Spectre?
Could mail it to me. Yeah, you could mail it to me and sign it. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was Spectre.
Hey, Spectre, welcome to the show, man.
Shout out to a bunch of people in chat. We got Gamerhand Jr. Well, shout out there.
I dig your channel, man.
Yeah, I think the topic, Oh, hello everyone. My name's Gippy because this is the first time I'm talking.
Gippy.
So I'm a former Anime North staffer, and I have a lot of spicy, juicy stories to tell. But that'll, we're gonna be here a couple hours. Just have get yourself relaxed, chill, get a good drink, and hopefully you're in for a good time. But
hello to Perception Check as well, saying hello to Blaze Firestorm. Gamerhands Jr. says Gippy.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. So before we hop into things, before we get into that, what's everyone having to drink this wonderful afternoon?
I was gonna get into that. So yeah. So we're going to talk about KCC first because this is a lead-in. So,
sure.
At KCC, I had a really wonderful time. And Ron,
you went to Kitchener Comic Con. That's awesome.
I did. You gave me the shirt.
Look at that.
You gave me the shirt. Look at that shirt.
Did that give you that shirt? That's
amazing.
That
shirt. Yeah, exactly.
Why did I do that? I didn't charge you for it. I'm totally kidding. You're the
best.
It's all good.
And that's why I became a Patreon member because you guys are so nice. And it was my first time going there, and I wanted to go for Nick Rekieta, And the thing is that I wouldn't have met you two if it weren't for the Anime North drama. So that's why there's a line between all this. I don't know. I actually forgot. Crumb, did you contact me first, or did I contact you about what KCCAN drama? We'll get into that later. But I forgot.
Yeah, for sure. Just walking into a swimming pool. Allow us to walk into this. First off,
drink.
If we're gonna talk about AN, you're absolutely right.
We have to be drinking. We
need drinks.
We need drinks.
Here's the reason why I got into it. Because
yes, go first. What drink?
I bought a Lagavulin 16 at Kitchener Comic Con, and I got Lubricator to sign it.
Beautiful.
That's awesome.
I tried the Lagavulin 16 for the very first time, and I thought it was disgusting and vile. It was terrible. So this cost $170, but then I sold it to my friend for $60, and I kept the packaging. So I basically paid $110
Blasphemy.
for the autograph.
That's it. The stream's over. We're done.
We're finished. We're done. See ya.
This is what I'm drinking. So
all right,
I'm gonna make it up to you. I went into my cupboard and I bought out this bottle of West Vleteren 12. And some people say it's the greatest beer in the world. You can't get it. You can't get it in Canada. It was only available for about a day or so in 2012 when the Trappists who make this beer needed to produce more to fund their new wing of the building to do renovations. So I bought this in 2012. The expiry date here is 2015. I don't know. You have 2015. It's 8 years old. It's 5 years past the expiry date, and I'm going to drink it, and it's going to be awesome.
We're going to see a man die on stream right now.
I hope you have a filter. Just have your paper, your paper coffee filter just filtered through. Any special chunks will just politely be discarded from the rest of the nice smooth drink. So Crumb, what are you having, bud?
I am having some Bailey's Irish Cream. I'm going to be topping that pretty soon.
That's awesome.
I'm almost through the bottle too. So,
and your kidney hates you, but your stomach loves you.
My taste buds love me right now.
There you go. Well, basically, on my end, I went to Dollarama and I picked up some nail polish remover. So I'm gonna dive into that. But however, I'm completely kidding. My particular elixir this afternoon, one of many, is that I got the Krista Skull vodka, the best vodka that Dan Aykroyd has ever possibly made by the fine people at Nova Scotia. And on top of that, I'm going to add that to a Rattler I got here.
The Waterloo Grapefruit Rattler.
That's right. Woo! So basically, I'm increasing the alcohol content and keeping all the sweetness. And of course, I got my little Thunder mug of happiness here. So that's going to be my little elixir. Of course, I brought some snacks for today's show.
If you're watching, you're going to need alcohol to get
through. Oh, fuck yeah. And on top of all that, if I burn through all of that, I got the big bubble right here. Stuff. So yeah, we're talking about AN, and when you sort of leave the Anime North incubator environment,
vodka and tonic crystal head vodka factor.
Gonna drink deep from this son of a bitch today.
Cheers to everybody out there.
So Gimpy,
chalice.
Cheers to you, Crumb. Yeah. Cheers to you, and cheers to everyone who's watching our wonderful, fantastic broadcast today. So, Gimpy, my first question off the cuff here, unless of course there's anything else, Crumb, I want to talk about before we jump into AN stuff here.
Oh, I think we can start a little bit fluff before we jump into the AN. People are still rolling in, so
let's.
I want to talk about some KCC some more because this is. I met you guys at KCC. Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious!
I know it's a broken record for you three by now.
Wait a second. Stop. It's never a broken record. It's absolutely. Okay. I am absolutely truly bashful talking about Kitchener Comic Con because
before we start going on about KCC.
All right.
I have to say something.
What do you have to say, Crumb?
Because in the very first episode of Canuckleheads, I brought something up and I chastised and I criticized and I went across the world and I gave royal hell to Taco Bell
Oh, yes.
For not
Allow us
delivering.
to converse about that particular service.
Just briefly.
Shan't we? All right.
Just briefly. So I went full Karen mode on Taco Bell for not delivering to me, even though they literally inhabit the same building as the KFC that did deliver to me.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
That's a little stupid.
Yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, Taco Bell started delivering.
There you go.
So just had to drop that little nugget really quickly. But now we can talk about KFC.
I want to add just a little bit more to that. Ladies and gentlemen of the actual stream, please keep in mind that when we talk about Taco Bell finally delivering, this is actually 2 weeks after when they rolled their campaign. So both Crumb and I were kind of going, we have to take the grand journey to the Taco Bell over across the great plain field of the Canadians.
We literally had to walk through Mordor to get to Taco Bell.
Exactly. Up and down Mount Doom, the whole 9 yards. And the thing is that weeks and weeks and weeks went by and no delivery. Now, the reason why we're picking on this
is just fucking tacos. That's it.
Exactly. But hold on. A lot of our viewing audience may not know this, but however, since we got the YouTube stuff and they could see a previous #1 episode, the big thing is that both KFC and Taco Bell are fused together. So it's the same friggin' building. So one half, you got KFC delivering. No problem. Taco Bell?
Literally in the fucking building, it says like KFC pickup, and you can. Yeah. It was mind-boggling. But now everything is right in the world. Cats and dogs
living together.
We're good now.
Yeah.
Now we can move
on. Exactly. So next on the docket, Kitchener Comic Con.
Right.
My goodness.
Convention to date in Southern Ontario. All
right. Yeah. So again, I was interested in Kitchener Comic Con because I do see Nick Ricada's show frequently. I don't see it live because I have a 9-to-5 job. So, my work allows me to listen to music, but instead of listening to music, I listen to Nick Ricada's podcast. So it all works out well. And of course, if I run out, I just watch it on the way back home. Again, I'm completely neutral about Vic Mignogna. Again, I guess I could lean towards I stand with Vic's side, knowing everything that's going on. But as for about the man himself, I've never seen any of his works. So, I've actually haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So I should, once I get around to that, I'll probably, pop in the dub and then give it a try. But I've never actually seen that show. So, I wasn't familiar with his work at all. But,
really?
Yeah. But
you ever heard of a little cartoon called Dragon Ball Z, perhaps?
Yes, well, I've seen the show on YTV, but I haven't seen Broly yet. I have to see Broly too. So he was a movie only. Yes, there it is.
1 second. What's that, Crumb? What is it? I'm sort of blind.
That's my signed copy of Full Metal Alchemist, the Sacred Star of I can't remember what the heck's called. Milosh. I know a lot of Miloshes, so it's probably
That's awesome. And getting back to you, Gimpy, a former member of Anime North, and you haven't watched Full Metal Alchemist. My goodness gracious.
Because I'm
amazing.
We'll get into that more. The taste I prefer for anime, but gotcha. We'll get it. But I was looking a look at your program. It's pretty awesome, pretty dapper looking right there.
Look at that. That's pretty spiffy.
Very interesting. It's the first time I've seen a convention do this, and I thought it was really cool. You put, when you made the layout of the program, you put the local guests first, and then I thought that was a really nice touch because you wanted to focus more on the local guests, and then you relegate Nick and Vic to page 12 and 13. So
exactly, and also on top of that, if you look at it
those guys,
is that Vic has like a whole page to himself. So when I was putting the guide together, that made the most perfect sense to me, because the thing is that when people look at a program guide, they sort of stop at they don't quite stop at one particular page, but a majority of the viewing sort of gets how can we say, dried up when they get to the guests of honor. They go, oh wow, that's so awesome, that's pretty cool, flip, gone. So basically what's putting this together was very important for me to put the actual local guests first, the cosplayers and stuff like that, moving to the illustrators, and save the larger guests for pretty much the end of the actual program guide. But yeah,
well, and you see, like, because of everything that went down, we had to put, like, it was part of the agreement was putting Vic on a completely separate page, having his own security on that page. I'm totally kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure the page has green M&Ms, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it was like that, yeah, right. So it was a really nice touch, and you'll notice that as we go throughout this podcast, I tend to notice all of these little things, and I just keep them in mind. And it's all about the details, and you'll see
it
why.
Really is. And fun fact for those out there, at the very back of that program guide, I handmade that goddamn logo. That entire page, I remade it myself. Fucking Bricada not having high resolution graphics.
Krem is referencing towards the back page full color ad bleed for Nick Ricada, for Nick Ricada Law.
Painstakingly recreated that fucking thing, by the way.
If you're ever in illegal trouble, just click the actual little code there if you got a cell phone, and you too can contact Nick Ricada directly. But I'm really glad you picked up on that, Gimpy. A lot of work goes into a program guide. Plus, one of the few things that Crum and I we've talked about briefly and extensively, of course, is that making a physical program guide is very important for me, because basically I've been talking about making physical stuff for almost 10 years now. Always support your local independent retailer. Always support physical print, because one of the few things slowly leading in the AN, which I never really liked, to be honest with you, is how they went to a virtual program guide versus a physical.
We'll talk about that. I have a huge, talk about this. I know the YouTube channel is going to pick it up. But we'll talk about that.
Celebrating that. But however, the thing is that it's very important to keep things cost effective, but at the same time keeping things dynamic and also keeping things fun. Because one of the few things I like to do as well is that I like to run full page ads that people see in the comic books from back in the late 70s, early 80s as well. But of course, it all depends on how full the program guide is. If I got some extra room, I sneak it in there and stuff like that. And it's pretty cool. I believe last year's program guide had an ad for sea monkeys and stuff like that. So these are just some of the little goofball things we do off towards the side. And the thing is that it's these little idioms that I really enjoy, because that's what really brings, in my opinion, the heart and the soul and the fun of a convention together. It all starts, in my opinion, with the program guide.
Oh yeah.
Dig it.
All
right.
Well, if there's no one, there's no other KCC stories to tell,
Oh, there's tons. We could probably talk about that for a good few hours. But however,
but Anakin, we have the high ground.
I hate you. Oh goodness gracious!
Let's dig into the meat of the story here.
God, how do we start this off?
How do we start?
Well, I started off by asking you two, what was your first experience with anime? Because I want to, mine's going to be quite a long story, so I'd rather have you two start off your tales and stories about Anime North, because I don't even know how many you've gone to, what year was your first one, and tell me about the good memories and how if any of those memories inspired how you planned KCC.
All right, Crum, you go first, and I'll go second.
Okay, well, I'm going to start the story here by stating the obvious, because I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that may or may not know. But Anime North was supposed to be this weekend. Anime North was supposed to be right now, actually. It should have started on Thursday, but because of COVID-19,
it's 20 degrees outside. It's a perfect day and
beautiful weekend. Heartbreaking. It really, really is. No, truly, honestly, truly, I am sad that they had to cancel. All joking aside, it does hurt a lot of the convention community overall year to year.
Yeah.
But I don't even remember when my first Anime North was. It was a long time ago. I believe. Oh my goodness! I think I lived in this region. I don't remember exactly. It was a while ago, but I know that it was the first year that I got my my costume that is now resting in the basement, retired, unfortunately.
Huh?
Probably was like 35 degrees out, boiling hot, and I'm
Jesus
like
Christ.
head to toe in freaking mascot costume, and it was just like I had a good time. It was fun, but my God, I probably lost like 50 pounds that day.
I was going to ask you how many pounds did you lose.
But yeah, like one thing I gotta say that really stood out to me, like it was a great community, a lot of fun, like a lot of great people, meeting people, great costumes, etc., etc. But I think what stuck out to me from my first time at Anime North was that because like I hadn't gone in its heyday. Like, let me just put that clear. The heyday was long gone by the time that I started going to Anime North. This because bottom line, Anime North was where you used to go. Like, I always heard rumors about this is where you used to go to get the anime, all this other stuff, because it's not online, it's not on TV, you can't find it. It's really difficult to get, but you can get it at this amazing convention.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time I had gone, the internet had already progressed to a point where everything was already on the internet, super easy to get access to anime, didn't need to go and like trade tapes or whatever else. And it was mainly just a glorified get together at that point. So like the dealer room was very lackluster. I mean, every corner had a pop figurine seller, and it's not to knock them, but when you have 47 pop dealers and there's 50 spots, kind of gets old after a while. So you don't really get that uniqueness. You don't really get that interesting stuff that goes on there. Mostly community driven, the things that were going on there. So yeah, it was. I didn't go to very many Anime Norths because of that, and unfortunately, like because of time and money and commitments, I wasn't able to really go back to many more. But yeah, I've heard lots of stories from people who had volunteered there. It's always like this weird mindset that their eyes roll back in their head when they start talking about Anime North. So
dig it.
Yeah, I'm going to hand off to Mr. Hop here for his tale.
Awesome. Before I get into my tale, Gimpy, you'll probably understand this a lot more than Crumb does. I said Gimpy.
Is this a PG-13?
I said Gimpy. I'm so sorry. Okay. Anyways, Crumb, here's a question for you. Were you part of the outside community, or were you part of the actual event itself? Because again, being a formal Anime North staff member, you had the two dynamics always going on. You had people outside playing around in front of the TCC. Then you had people actually bought the passes and hang out in the hotel. And you had the people actually bought the passes and went to the panels and the rest of the programming and stuff like that.
I was one of the stupid fools that bought a pass, but literally couldn't stay in the building for more than 5 minutes because I was going to die in my costume. I was literally going to microwave in my costume.
That's awesome. So the thing is that, again, the thing is that both of us as former AN members, we sort of, this is why we're chuckling, because there's always been a bit of contention, because there's always more people on the outside than there was on the inside. So you got kids all just dying from heat stroke or puking up from Harvey's hamburger because they used E. coli non-approved burgers and stuff like that. And the fun and enjoyment with that. But however, with my story, it all started back in the early 2000s, 2002, 2003, I believe. I was with my ex downstairs living in a basement apartment, and one day I'm watching my Saturday morning cartoons, because kids, it's not just a myth, it's something that really happened. It's true, all of it. And as I'm watching it, one of our favorite friends, Crumb, AJ Fry pops up.
Definitely
it says hi.
It was definitely not Jen Maglet. It was definitely not our friend.
No, okay. But anyways, to continue my story here.
Yes, AJ Fry, who might have been a part of our convention, if not for a certain group of individuals. For sure. We'll get in that stone throwing in a minute or so. But however, back then, it was awesome to see him on TV, and he was saying, "Oh, Anime North is here. We're here live, and we're talking about anime." I'm going, I like anime, especially I'm eating a giant bowl of breakfast cereal. And as AJ's talking about the show, how great it is, how many thousands of people are, so I'm going, I want to go to this thing. I really picked up the landline, called up my buddy Trevor, said, "Trevor, what are you doing today?" He goes, "Oh, not too much, Ron. Why is that?" We're Anime North. He goes, "Well, yeah, great. You're taking me there. Let's go." So we hopped in the Trevor mobile, and
there we are. And that was my very first Anime North experience. Honestly, it was a lot of fun. I was part of the robot building contest where there's a giant pile of junk, and I made this really cool robot and won first place with it. It was really, really fun. Plus, on top of that, they had all the anime, they had all the panels and stuff like that. At that point in time, I went, how can I be a part of this event? Because it just seems to be so much fun as a first-time viewer, and that's my very first.
And that's how they get you.
Oh yeah, Hellraiser hooks. It's like, yes, please take me. I love the anime. And then basically,
have you experienced true pleasure?
I will show you suffering.
I will show you ecstasy.
Your suffering will be legendary, even in hell. But anyways, the very next year, I got in contact with the gaming coordinator, and I use it in quotations for other reasons. And I brought in my LARP game with me, and brought all my LARPers with me. And the thing is that just kept building up and building up and building up. And then the guy who was running the gaming section couldn't be there one year, and I just stepped in and said, "Hey, I could make this work. Give me some rope." And
they did.
Oh, they did, and I was there with them for what? 6-7 years, a good 6 to 7 years. And one of the few things I could definitely put a feather in my cap is I brought a gaming area to a gaming section to a gaming department. And then the next thing you know, the gaming in Anime North, or AN Gaming from back in the day, didn't consist of, a little tiny area in the DoubleTree. It actually consisted of an international hotel, 7 rooms. We had, 27 staff members, hundreds of volunteers. We had programming from Thursday all the way to Sunday. Our programming tracks were just stocked all the way through. Every single year, we pushed the envelope a little bit more. We're getting all facets of gaming, such as board games, card games, pen and paper RPGs, and video games as well. And video games broken down into our arcade, console stuff. And on top of that, we're also having live streaming as well, with people playing World of Warcraft and other stuff like that too. And it was getting really involved. And basically, one of the few things I could say on a positive level is that Anime North pretty much gave me the slack I needed to really build a fantastic gaming apartment that has never been seen throughout Canada. And I could say that without ego. I could say that without any form of negative. It's just how it was. When you have independent student newspapers making comics about the gaming section, we were onto something. And one of the few things that I wanted to do as the head gaming coordinator is that I wanted to bring the creators of the games to sit down and actually play with the clients who brought their games. So at the same time, we're bringing guests in, we're flying people from all North America. And on that aspect of things, it was a good time. And I was very proud to build all of that. But over time, things kind of changed, unfortunately. And
we're
kind of how it works.
We're going to get into the gristle of this a little bit later, but we'll save that juicy bit for a little bit later. But Gippy, let's hear your experience.
Yeah. So I've been to Anime North 16 consecutive years. So
holy shit! Crap.
It's a little bit of show and tell time, because I really had some really good memories of Anime North, and people are coming in. They're thinking I'm just going to just completely rag on them, but no, I had so many good memories. So this is the 2003 program. It's look at that
right there. Damn.
I think one of the better covers they've ever made. And you see there was a YTV sponsorship when YTV bandwagon, and at the back there's an ad for the Animatrix.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's old school. Look at that. And
that is bringing it back. Holy cow!
Memories right here. The Zone and Vortex.
Hey.
Oh, goodness gracious!
Wow.
This was before the Bionics programming came out in 2005, but this was my first year, and I only went for one day, and it was held at the now demolished Regal Constellation Hotel.
Yeah, that place was the bomb back in the day.
Yeah, so I only went for a single day because I had only gotten into hardcore anime, sort of semi-recently in 2001. It's because when I was growing up, what I used to love were high production cartoons. So when I was growing up, I didn't really watch most of the Nelvana stuff. I was really into the Disney afternoon, like Gummy Bears, DuckTales, Rescue Rangers, and Tailspin. Those are the original four. Those are really awesome. And then there was the Disney Renaissance, the Warner Brothers cartoons, Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, Pinky and the Brain.
Great.
They had such high production value, and also they had that sense of maturity that you don't really see in Western cartoons today. And then sometime around the late 90s, for some reason, once the CGI thing took off because of Pixar, I noticed a lot of the Western-based shows, they started dumb down their scripts, and it was like, nah, and they weren't really enjoyable. It was like written for little kids. I know, like, Animaniacs was written for kids, but there's so many high-level adult jokes that an adult can enjoy it. So that's what made me shift towards anime. And again, I met a friend in high school, and he's still my friend to this day. He's the only person I still speak to that I met in high school, and he introduced me first to this clamp show called Cardcaptor Sakura, and I'm like, I've seen that already. It's called Cardcaptors, and he's like, no, Cardcaptors is shit. You gotta see Cardcaptors. I'm gonna give you the first couple of episodes of Cardcaptor Sakura on VHS. You're gonna watch that, and I'm like, fine, I've seen this already. It's not that special. And then I watch, I'm like, holy shit, it's like a whole different show. What the hell did they do this during localization?
What is this shit that I've been watching?
And then the second show, of course, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh, classic.
So good.
In pirated Hong Kong VCD. So
that's awesome.
I had to download the English script and print it out on paper and read it alongside the video, because that's how you understood Neon Genesis Evangelion back then.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. I remember watching that and getting all the VCR tapes from Blockbuster, and of course you had to get the whole series because you had a week to watch the whole freaking thing. It's like this giant stack, but of course it's all dubbed, and that was done by what dubbing company back in the I want to say AVE or something like that.
ADV Films?
Yeah, that's it exactly. It was done by those guys. And I just, everything that production company came out with, I instantly fell head over heels over, because everything that came out was just awesome. And it was, and basically, as you mentioned before, between Card Captors and the other Card Captors, it's the exact same thing with me as well. Because the thing is that, again, here I'm watching a full animated production, and it's not made for kids, because it's got, you know, it's well written, it's well directed. The animation itself is beyond anything that both Warner Brothers and Disney was pumping at that point in time, and it was just a completely different universe, completely submerged. And plus, on top of that, this all predates the internet. So the thing is that you didn't have stuff like this directly at your fingertips. You had to dig through the video stores, or you had to find a friend of yours that had that pirated copy all the way from Japan, or you had to go to a convention, or you had to go to an anime club and basically get your stuff from there, because it's the only way to get it. So, goodness.
Exactly. And then in 2001, like a few years before that, I got high-speed internet permanently. I had it like on an on-off basis. It was so expensive at that point. Finally got high-speed internet. I don't know if you're familiar with IRC and
oh bots. Yeah.
I downloaded my anime off bots, and then I got into the world of fan subbing, where
goodness gracious.
Oh my god.
Then there weren't, like, for the young people here, like right
the original
now,
Team 4-Star, by the way.
We're so lucky to have all of this anime, released
right
away, right, simul dubs and all that. We didn't have that stuff back in the
streaming platforms with hundreds and thousands and quadrillion billion hours of anime at your fingertips on one streaming platform. What's this person? What are you saying?
Razor EX. He says, in 2001, I got all my Japanese subbed anime from my cousin.
So here's what happened. It airs in Japan. Someone captures it and then uploads the raw. Then the fan subgroup has to, for free, translate the entire thing. And depending on how popular the show is, this could be
take a long time,
or a week. but obviously never 0 hour. Later on there was an arms race where people rushed to fan sub the thing first, because if you were first, everyone downloaded your group's fan sub and nobody else's. I believe the record was for a show later on called Chrono Crusade, where over 20 fans of the first episode. And then once half of them dropped out by episode 3 because they're like, oh, we're not fast enough. They're horses. They all drop out of the race.
Oh, wow. The funny thing is, I still have that full set still shrink wrapped somewhere in my office.
Yeah. So I went for I only went for 1 day, Anime North 2003. And it was such a fun experience that for the next 15 years, 9 as a staffer, I went for the whole weekend.
Oh, wow.
And I'll go through year by year as we go on, but again, I don't want to dominate the chat here, so we'll go, slowly.
We'll
get into it. We'll get into it, right?
Yeah. Well, I know in one of my first few years introduced into Anime North and the whole convention scene, I was introduced to some very intriguing people, some of whom the chat might recognize, because they're some of the people that had been making complete clowns of themselves online. And these were supposed to be figureheads of the community and things like that. So they were very much high school when I knew them, I want to say 13 years ago at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So I guess that puts it at about 2007. That's about right. That seems about when I went to Anime North, around that time frame. So that's I've known those people for a long time, and I've seen and heard a lot of the drama that they've been a part of. A lot of it circles Anime North. A lot of it goes down that drain. So
yeah.
If you have any drama, guys, now is a good time to drop it.
Well, no, I'm going to go year by year because you always 2003. You always remember your first, and that was a fantastic year. The only year that that I went to that was at the Regal Constellation, because they closed it down. Yeah, they closed it down, and then it just stood there because they wanted the building sold to someone, and then it didn't fall through, and then it just stood there as an abandoned hotel for years and years until I think sometime in the 2010s it finally got demolished. So, all right, 2004. Just moving year by year. One of the guests at 2004 was an Anisong singer named Atsuko Enomoto. She did the opening for Angelic Lair, and Angelic Lair is a very important show to me because that was the very first fan sub show that I watched, also by Clamp, because I watched it because I thought Cardcaptor Sakura was great, and then I have to watch Angelic Lair. And when you watch Angelic Lair today, it's like it's just a it's just like it's Pokemon but with battle dolls or something. So, but it's so fun. It's so very high production value, very awesome. If you haven't seen it, you should give it a try. So she was there. I noticed that there weren't a lot of people who were actually watching her sing, so the concert was just a bonus. And then something that was really into back then was karaoke. Like, I can't karaoke for shit now. I think when my voice didn't drop or whatever, I entered in 2005. I entered a karaoke contest, and I won. I got first place. So right there,
there you go.
First place, J-Rock, Anime North 2005.
Oh, J-Rock! I haven't heard that terminology in years.
I guess that's when they actually put effort into that stuff.
Yeah, so
they did.
They have these. So this was the good days. Like I'm showing you how good they were, right? So I won.
Pay attention because it's a very slippery downhill from here.
Yeah, I won this by singing, I believe, the J-Rock song "Love Phantom" by BZ. I don't have no idea, but I don't remember it now. But that was really nice. And in 2006, the following year, Anime North got their first major Anisong guest ever. Kodako, I'm not sure if you've heard of her, but she was at Anime Expo and Otakon. Otakon was the #2 con at the time. She went there. The third con she went to was Anime North. So this was a huge catch for Anime North. And because she was an A-list singer at the time, the security was through the roof. To date, I believe that was the only time that Anime North employed people with metal detectors, where they had to pat down before going into the concert because it was that big, and the security was absolutely like Kodako had an entourage of about 6-7 people wherever she went. You couldn't even get close to her, otherwise they just stop you cold. But it was
that's pageantry. Jesus.
And Kodako, you might know her for the various openings and endings of Shakugan no Shana, Tweenie Witches, Outer Force XZ, so on and so forth. But she was big. The concert was great, even despite everyone being checked through a metal detector. Okay, and then 2008 was my favorite year ever. I'm going to tell you why. 2008 was my favorite year ever. So this is the cover for 2008.
Look at you go. That's amazing.
Right, and this was back in the days where Gundam was huge. So you have like Gundam Seed Destiny.
Oh,
that was a series. That was a series. Holy shit!
Destiny. So that was
amazing.
Awesome. And you have for the first time, right here, Code Geass. Look at that.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
I still have to see Code Geass because I suck. I haven't watched Code Geass. So there you go. So Anime North 2008 also had a major Anisong guest called Haruko Momoi. She's not big anymore now, but she was like A-list back in the day. She was called the Queen of Akihabara, and Anime North went out of their way to make the true the hardcore Haruko Momoi fans, Momoists. A bunch of them came from Japan to cheer her on, but they produced this call guide.
Oh my gosh!
Something that I have never seen another convention do. This was Anime North.
Wow.
Here, you can open it up, right? I just saved this for record. It's just this was the panel that they taught you how to do all of the songs, all of the calls and cheers. But here you have like an introduction, and this was incredible. They had lyrics for all of the songs that she might be singing. Like you have here, Tenbatsu Indorabi, I Know Medicine from Nurse Witch Comedy, and told you exactly how to cheer, when to cheer it. And if you went to the panel a couple hours before the concert was about to happen, then everyone in that panel got a front row seat, guaranteed.
Wow.
So I went to the panel, my friend went to the panel, and we got a front row seat, and then they gave us these glow sticks for free. And look at what Anime North did. They had
you still have them.
Stickers,
wow.
I know the stickers are wearing off, but it's special stickers on each of these disposable glow sticks, because back then the electronic glow sticks, they weren't really invented. I mean, they were invented, but they were ultra expensive. So they just gave everyone these disposable glow sticks, but they had these special stickers made just for the concert, and it was an absolute blast. It was the best concert I've seen. It was gonna be the best concert I've ever seen, any song concert, until way later when Fauna came to Otaku-san.
Gotcha.
But one thing that the singer did, Haruko Momoi did, was she saw a cosplay of someone in the cosplay from the show called Popotan, and that's a very obscure show. There's like nudity in it, and there's also an adult visual novel. But because she saw someone in that Popotan cosplay, she changed her concert set list to include the Popotan visual novel opening. And that just freaked, like I've heard of it, that just freaked all of the Japanese tourists out, because they seriously thought she was not going to sing that song, because nobody in North America knows that song. It's on YouTube and everything. It's a very well-known song. It was very popular back in the day, but she actually sung it. That just hyped everyone up. So 2008, because of this, greatest year ever, I think, for Anime North. That was the peak. And I went to the charity auction. There's one more story from that year. I went to the charity auction, and they were auctioning Haruko Momoi's dress from one of her music videos that she did.
Oh, wow.
And we went into a bidding war for the dress because I wanted a keepsake. And the bidding went all the way up to $700 just for a dress. And then I told everyone, like, if I win this, I'm going to cosplay with this dress next year. And everyone laughed, But I think the Momoists from Japan were completely freaked out, and I know one of them from New York was determined to not let me get this dress no matter what. So that person bid $750, and I just had to pull out then. So I was really disappointed. But then right after the con, I'm like, holy fuck! I'm so happy I didn't win that.
Yeah, that would have been a very expensive. Yeah.
But you know, when you gamble, right? You just want to win at all costs. It doesn't matter about how much it costs. You just want to win. It's like going to one of the carnival. You play that damn carnival game that gets you every time until you win. And you know, you might win like a little plushie, and you probably spent way more money than it would have cost for you to just buy that plushie in the first place. But it's that feeling of winning, and that's how I felt during the auction. You know?
It is mine. I have claimed it.
Yeah, I wanted to win at all costs, and I was sad that I didn't win. But then the day after the con, I'm like, oh my god, I am so thankful.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Ludonos is saying the anime that got me into everything was like Bakuretsu Hunters, which was dubbed by AD Vision, aka AD.
Oh,
yep.
Oh,
and after that, I got into anime and went down in a deep rabbit hole in a bunch of different styles of anime. And Razor EXE saying it's like spending on a gacha. Absolutely.
Wow,
that's true.
Goodness gracious! My
so
goodness.
Where did it all go wrong then?
Well, wait a second. I want to jump in really quickly. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I think it really depends on a case by case scenario, because basically when I sort of left the events initiative, again, it was just so big. They just, I don't know. They just didn't care about certain things anymore, and that's when I kind of noticed the writing was on the wall. Because again, oh fuck!
Because it honestly sounds like Anime North cared so much for so long.
It's again, Crumb. That's a very, very good question. I'm just not saying that to better our conversation. That is a very good question. Where did it all go wrong? I think it became and jump here, Gimp. I think it just became when people became very complacent with things. I think that was the starting point of everything, because when I was there, I was bringing the wonderfulness of gaming with me, and just as much as we're excited about talking about past, previous Anime Norths and all the stuff they used to be doing, I was kind of doing the same thing with gaming. Because it was new, it was fantastic, it was wonderful. The kids, like the demographic, it's shit. How can I explain this? Usually in the entertainment industry, usually they focus on that 25 and younger demographic for males. And the thing is that's usually what the bread and butter is for pretty much any form of entertainment. With AN gaming, we were across the spectrum with everything, and it was wonderful because we had the kids coming in there playing oh god, what the hell is that called? I want to say Blaze Blade, but that's not correct. It's basically
Beyblade.
Thank you, Beyblade. We had the kids there. We had the YTV stuff there. We had the kids dressed up in YTV t-shirts. We had it was literally like going back to, as you said before, 2008. We had a lot of people just having a lot of fun. And the thing is that I think that some of the main people in the Anime North programming department got very jealous of things, because here's gaming in the butt end of the convention aspect, just having so much fun, and the rest of it just seemed to be mundane. Because one of the few things I remember on the way out, it was just basically copy, paste, repeat, and there wasn't anything there that you just mentioned. Like there was no soul, there was no like special glow sticks with stickers on them, there was no extra special physical print stuff. So, it just seemed to be that this was successful, we're going to circle this and just repeat it for the next year type of thing. And it's
this is like a common theme that I'm hearing from not only like my experience, but a bunch of different people's experiences. It's a common theme of control and like people not really seeming to take advice or like want to be open to be taking advice.
Yeah,
like I don't know. Like I don't know what you guys have. You guys have experienced it. I mean, like I've never been staff there. I've never volunteered there because I've heard horror stories.
Yeah,
Like you guys have heard firsthand. So like, tell me some of the stories.
Yeah. So here's what
You go first.
Here's my theory on why I believe the con started to go down after 2008. At the end of 2007, so there weren't as many ramifications in 2008 yet. At the end of 2007, the anime industry in North America crashed.
Heavily.
So a lot of studios went bankrupt. ADV Films went bankrupt, and then they got resurrected from the ashes to Sentai Filmworks. But Genion, who sponsored Kodako, brought her over to North America. They pulled out. A bunch of others went out. Bandai pulled out. That was a huge blow. Bandai pulled out. With Central Park Media, a dubber, they pulled out. So
I was just thinking about those guys.
Yeah. The great crash of 2007 and 2008, I think, really impacted the industry, because back then, people thought it would keep growing, but then the fans started to not buy stuff, because back then you had 4 episodes on the DVD for $60, $70, and people weren't going to spend that much for anime. And you had the anime channel, and it was subscription service, and I enjoyed it because I could pay for it, but a lot of people couldn't, and it was really expensive. I think the anime channel was like something like $15 a month, and now Crunchyroll's cheaper than that. And the anime channel on demand was you can only watch certain episodes per week. So the great crash happened. It took a very long time to recover. Anime North did not have another major anime song guest for 10 years. That's how bad it was. From 2008 was the last one, Hakumomoi. They did not invite another major anime song guest to the convention until 2018, when Back On came.
So what do you think went behind that decision, though?
I think I could answer that. Please correct me if I'm wrong here. Basically, what was taking place from that dynamic as well is that as anime was crashing to the floor, because remember, we're talking about an animated industry that was just surpassing Disney, Warner Brothers, and stuff like that in every way, shape, and form. And then you have this major crash going on. But at the same time, in the overall entertainment industry, you've got gaming jumping in leaps and bounds, because one of the few things that Crumb and I were talking about very briefly earlier today or yesterday was talking about how King Kong was just coming back, and that was directed by Peter Jackson. But of course, a little game called Halo was beating the crap out of it per dollar within the actual, I wouldn't say the box office, but the actual overall gross revenue between all that. And of course, when anime was going down the toilet, gaming was just skyrocketing through all of that. And the thing is that I think Anime North had a problem, because here I am being myself, being who I am, running the gaming department, and the gaming is just pulling all of the kids in like crazy. And then you have this huge crash taking place in the background with the anime industry. It makes total sense why resentment started to happen.
Yeah. And then around that time, you still remember the subprime mortgage that hit everyone, right?
Oh God, yeah.
So that also hit everyone as well. That just compounded everything. So I think from that point forward, Anime North started to tighten its purse strings a lot. And you'll find that when I go through year by year. But this was at a point. Yeah,
we all know who runs those purse strings too, don't we?
Yeah, this was at a point where I wasn't staffed. So I did not foresee that Anime North would become what it is today. So, I don't recall any great memories from 2009. I'm going to skip 2009. 2010, I entered the game show Anime Jeopardy for the first time, and I didn't win actually. I got set.
Yep.
Yeah. But I don't. I mean, if you're mentioning him, great. I wasn't going to mention any specific staff by name, but he's a really good guy.
He is. Ken is an absolute fantastic individual, and the thing is that one of the few things I definitely want to say on the record while I'm taking some of this wonderful Canadian club here is that Ken was absolutely fantastic. He had this juvenance about him. He really wanted to get involved. He got the great graphics down together, and he just really wanted to put it together. Yeah. And the thing is that out of all of the people that I worked with, even my own staff back in the day, I really liked working with Ken. He was a really, really good person.
Yeah. So I went on as a player, and I wanted this to be filmed. I wanted the game show to be filmed because I wanted to, record my experience. And then right after Jeopardy was Family Feud, and I recorded all of that too. So Ken took notice of this, and he said, are you going to get the videos up? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get the videos up. And so that was the start of a very long relationship. And then starting in 2011, I became official Anime North staff because Ken saw that I put up the videos for his game shows, and I edited the hell out of them. They weren't just cut and paste. There's a lot of downtime between things, right? When you're filming anything, any sort of interactive event, there's a lot of downtime. So in 2011, I became game show.
It's also very, very time consusive as well, because again, you're putting all this stuff together. This is back in the day, before StreamYards came together, before anything took place. And the thing is that one of the few things I was talking about, again, not to name any names here, with Eileen, is that at that point in time, I had about 5 to 7 years of actual broadcasting experience because I was working for Kojiko, Shaw, and Rogers. And one of the few things that I wanted to do was actually broadcast all the actual the game show events live on the internet. And one of the few things that I kind of found out is that a lot of the staff members really couldn't wrap their head around that, which was very interesting for me at the time, because again, it's all really simple plug and play software, simple plug and play equipment, stuff like that. But however, it was what it was, and I had two choices: either get involved with more broadcasting stuff or get involved or keep the gaming department way it was. So
and
interesting stuff.
Randy in the chat says Manga Core 5-star ADB Films went out of business in 2009.
Oh my god, those two, I haven't heard of those in forever. What?
Same here.
Wow. So first year of staff, 2011. Look at that lovely cover. So
look at that.
Again, everything was great. Now here's where it starts to turn unplugged here. So 2011, 2012, I don't really have any stories to tell about those years because those are pretty good years. At that time I was just assisting the game show department with Ken and others. I'm not going to mention them unless you mention them, but but I was assisting just with Jeopardy and Family Feud, filming their events, editing them, putting them on YouTube. The videos are still up. I have my own channel because despite everything, just because I left Anime North doesn't mean I'm going to delete my video. So if you want to see those videos, I'm going to type it in the chat now. Okay, here we go. And that's my URL. Oh, remove any web addresses and try again.
You might have to send me that to put it in there, because
Okay.
And you know what? I got some. And I apologize for interrupting, but at the same time here, I do have the Facebook page, which you probably are well aware of.
/Gippy Games. So
I'll throw that up around there because again, good content. It's always good content. If you know what I mean.
No, I have the URL protection because of porn bots. So.
Oh yeah.
Family friendly show.
When I stream on Twitch, I have to turn off pictures in Discord because I actually had my initial account banned because someone spammed the goatsy picture. Ooh. Yeah. So no. Okay. So here's the thing. So this is a 2013 cover right here. Okay. You're gonna notice something interesting here. This was the final year that they credited the staff by department name and have all the things. There's even an entry for Duck Hunt. The guy who ran Duck Hunt told me an entry for that. So this was awesome, and it's something that every year I was looking forward to because it has your name in it and you get credited.
Yeah.
And the thing is that's what a lot of staff members under my employ were working for, just to be credited within the actual physical print of the program guide. And one of the few things and the thing is, I apologize for jumping in here, but the thing is that I fought hard as the gaming director of Anime North to make sure that everyone who got involved was fucking in that program guide regardless. And a few people always told me, you gotta cut it back. I was like, no. We got little Jimmy here who put so many man hours in. Yeah, he's getting some ink.
Razor EXE says 2011 was the first year at ANN. So
Oh,
cool.
So
awesome.
here's how it starts to come unplugged. This is the 24th.
One second.
Go ahead.
No. Your terminology, unplugged, which is another convention name.
Yeah, I know. It's unplugged. I actually do stuff for Unplugged Expo, so it's no, I'm not.
That'll be for another show.
That'll be for another. Yeah. I'm doing it.
We'll come back to that. Maybe show 8.
So look at this. Look at this. This art just keeps getting better and better. So that's a 2014 art right there. Yeah. But you'll notice something interesting. In this is the first year they stopped referring to the staff by department name. They just had a whole mess of names in there. This slowly was the start of something sinister. So my name is hidden in a sea of stuff. So at this point, your name's still in there, but they only credited the upper staff right here, and then they didn't really credit anyone else.
Yep, I think at that point in time, I wasn't quite sure what year I left the event initiative, but it was around that time as well, because the thing is that there was a lot of stuff that was going on that I personally thought wasn't fair and wasn't right. But
so what kind of stuff was happening?
Well,
people want to know.
Well, basically what was going on is that I really thought that, as an example for myself, I was putting between 80 to 125 hours a week into Anime North as an actual event initiative. And of course, me being with all of my limitations, I was having people working with me, putting the same amount of time in. And I really thought it was unfair that a lot of those people were simply not just getting the base core credit that they really deserved. And the thing is, I thought that was really, really unfair. But on top of that, this stuff was over my head and out of my control. But one of the few things I had with my team members at that point in time is that I would fight tooth and nail for every single person who worked with me, because quite simply they put the time in, and I really thought the time that was put in was definitely worth the time that was deserved to be printed. And I really thought a lot of stuff was being cut back completely, and I thought it wasn't fair. So
yeah, well, Gamer Hands Jr. saying my first and last Anime North was last year.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That was a tough one to come on board to, because I mean that there was some good. Its best years were definitely behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Well, the thing is that the gaming stuff completely changed when I left, because one of the few things that I thought. Again, I'm a few drinks in now. Awesome. So as Nick Ricardo going, good, keep drinking.
Now we're gonna start getting salty.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't say
do it.
I do it.
Do it.
Okay. Is that one of the few things that I didn't like? Is that one of the few things that happened behind the scenes? A lot of people don't quite realize is that my final year at Anime North came down to this. I was faced with an illegal eviction from my place of residence. And
illegal eviction for people out there that are wondering.
Yeah, and the thing is that it was completely illegal. And the thing is, what was coming down to is the landlord has a lot of power when it comes down to his tenants and stuff like that. Again, signing a full lease, so forth and so forth. I was looking at a place where I wasn't that I couldn't live there anymore. So there was this place in limbo where I was putting in, again, I said before, in between 80 to 124 hours at AN, just to make sure that the gaming department was basically running on all 4 cylinders. And the thing is that I didn't have a place to live. And when my exit took place, and a lot of people may or may not know this, is that I had to leave the Anime North event initiative on the Sunday of the event. But one of the few things I definitely did before I left for the weekend is I made sure that all of my staff members were fully informed of what was going on and what was happening. And I had to take a viewing of a new unit to live in. And one of the few things I've really felt the bars that were hitting against me is that it was like, oh, Ron, you had to live on Sunday? It's like, yeah. And they go, well, why is that? I go, I don't have a place to live. if I don't view this one unit I'm moving into, I'm living in a refrigerator box, for God's sakes. And they kind of went, okay. And again, this is during the turmoil of Ron's doing too much, gaming is too big, Ron is growing out of his bridges type of thing and stuff like that. And at the same time, one of the few things I want to say in the public record, I've been always fucking humbled in my experience of working with Anime North in every way, shape, and form. And the thing is that I come from, and I'm going to say this one more time, from the entertainment industry. I know how egos are supposed to be. And the thing is that I never really had that. I never walked in on Donald or Eileen and said, I need my green fucking M&Ms now, or fuck you, I'm gone. Like, I've never done that. I always made sure that my team members and my staff members were taken care of. I always made sure I fought tooth and nail to make sure there was overnight accommodations firmly in place for those individuals who put in over 24 hours into volunteer work into an event initiative that was getting a fucking dime for God's sakes. And at the same time here, I made sure that my troops were taken care of, period. End of sentence. And one of the few things that I had with my staff members, I'm going to emphasize that word, my staff members, is that they would lie down in traffic for me, because I would lay down in traffic for them time and time and time again. Like, here is a really spicy story for all those individuals that like to tune into this particular broadcast, and I'm willing to share with you. There was an individual I was working with. Her name was Tamika. A great, wonderful individual. She was basically having a relationship with her partner. She had 2 kids. And through all these trials and tribulations, she was still helping with the gaming initiative at Anime North. And one of the few things that the top executives didn't realize is that this was taking place. But this was my burden to work with. And one of the few things about working with Tamika is I always told her to take a step back if she had to. And this is something I'm willing to share with the rest of the class. Thanks, Monograph. Basically, long story short, what took place is that basically there was some selling of some passes. And of course, one of the few things that Gimpy could really click into is that if you sold a pass, you had to make sure that all the proper paperwork was done in place, blah, 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 everything in between. So the thing is that somehow the top executives found out that fucking gaming, were selling weekend passes at a deal. Well, Cress, one of the few things that we always talk about is the solemn witch trials. And one of the few things that took place was that Tamika was going to be placed in the center square and going to be burnt at the stake because she was selling weekend passes without permission. And one of the few things that happened to me, and I'll share this once again, is that here I am, stressed out 7 ways from Sunday by running one of the largest gaming departments in Canada. I'm going to emphasize this one more time. In Canada, I have all the nuances of a major fucking event under my employ. And of course, I'm not getting paid. So basically what's taking place here is that this information got hold of Eileen through whatever nuances that took place. So on the fucking Saturday, me running the gaming department with all the nuances that took place for all this. And Cress, you know what I fucking mean by that because you've been working with me for several fucking years now. I had to put the gaming machine on hold because heaven forbids they heard that a staff member was selling weekend passes without going through the proper channels. Well, what took place during this aspect is Donald came in with his little fucking darling backpack, looked around and said, well, it looks like everything's running well here. I went, thank you, Donald. I really appreciate it. A lot of team members put a lot of time and trouble into things. He went, yep, Okay. And off it went. Boop, 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 boop. Off he goes. No problem. Rubber stamp cleared. Totally cool. So basically, after that, everything's running well. A half an hour later, I get this text message from Eileen's camp. Not from Eileen, but Eileen's camp. Because again, Crest, one of the things you know about me is when I get a text message, I go, whatever. But however, this is coming in from Eileen's people saying, we heard that there was someone selling weekend passes without permission, and we're going to form a formal investigation into this. And I'm going, what? Meanwhile, here I am, literally, and the thing is that Crest, you know fucking this. I'm holding things together with literally fucking duct tape and bale wire, for God's sakes. And the thing is, I'm making sure that things are working properly and stuff like that. Well, the machine gets to be put on hold because Eileen comes in with her investigation group, and she's telling me someone on your team is selling weekend passes without permission. I'm going, what? She goes, yes, and we think her name, and she basically she tells me who it is, and I'm going, oh, that's interesting. At that point in time, I looked at, you know what, that person who you're talking about, she wouldn't do anything like that because I've been working with her for several years. She's been nothing but a fantastic volunteer. She's done everything she said she would do plus more. And says, well, we don't care if there's a leak link. We have to find this person out and be exposed to it. It's like, fuck. Okay, cool. So again, my good friends, this is on the fucking Saturday of the event, and here I am. This is, oh shit, I think 2 or 3 years before I left the initiative. I honestly can't forget because I'm half new related right now. But long story short, this is something that took place. So here I am in a fucking boardroom meeting, Salem lot trial. We're about to basically submit Tamika to a fucking public witch burning. And I'm sitting here, I'm almost fucking crying. And Crest knows exactly what I mean by that because he's seen me at my lowest. She really, really has. And the thing is that here I am going, oh fuck, I've got one of my team members doing this. Well, no, Tamika would never do anything like this because she's been nothing but a fucking goddamn superstar, especially raising kids, having her problems, and giving her fucking time freely towards the Anime North event initiative. So the thing is, I'm looking at Eileen, we don't have to go through this. She goes, oh no, we have to go through this. Blah, 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 blah. And of course, I'm fighting for my fucking team because when it comes down to it, when you win my trust, that's it. I'm in traffic. Fucking done. So the thing is that there's Donald and there's his brother. What's Donald's brother again? Do you remember his name? I forget what his name is, but yeah, Donald's brother. What's that? Sorry?
Donald's brother. I don't really care.
Yeah. So the thing is, you got Donald's brother, and you got Eileen there, and you got all the guns cocked and loaded. You got the gasoline ready to burn her at the fucking stake. And of course, she walks in and she sits down. And of course, who I am, I start the conversation. I kind of go, okay, Tamika, this is what we heard. We heard that passes are being sold. And oh fuck, this was so hard at the time. Oh god, I'm gonna cry, but I'm trying not to. But at the same time here, Tamika goes, no, you don't understand. When I sold my passes, basically I contacted Donald's brother and I told her what was going on. I went, what? She went, yeah. I contacted Donald's brother and I told him that we're doing a transfer between X, Y, and Z because unfortunately, since I was staff member this year, I didn't need the passes. And basically, I need to sell them because I need money to feed my kids and stuff like that. And I went, okay. And I looked at her and said, she's excused from this particular inquiry. And she left. And then basically through all of this took about 5 to 6 hours to put together. And Eileen from my perspective, for what it's worth, was looking to sacrifice somebody, because one of the few things, as you probably know, Gimpy, is that they were looking for someone to really hit home that fact that someone was selling weekend passes illegally and all that other bullshit at that point in time. And you have Tamika there saying, no. I contacted Donald's brother and I told him what was going on. And everything was transferred over properly. And Donald went, what? It's like, yeah. And basically, she was excused from the meeting. And that was that. And I looked at Eileen straight and I said, I fucking told you so. And she went, well, I guess that's all we need to hear. I went, yep. And that was that. The Salem Witch trial ended. My gaming department switch was thrown back on. And things moved forward. And this is some of the things that was happening behind the scenes. And one of the few things that I was pissed off about is that several years later, I found out that other game coordinators who were in my position were being fucking paid for their time and trouble. And one of the few things about Anime North is I kept giving and kept giving and kept giving. And one of the few things that my time of fucking need, what still bugs me to this fucking day, when I needed, just a little bit of understanding, I was thrown off to the fucking side, as I honestly thought a good friend of mine at that point in time was looking after my best interest, was brought up to the forefront of things.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you 5 minutes.
Yeah, thanks.
To collect yourself. We'll bring it back on in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Let's divert for a little bit here. So,
yeah, for sure.
Ron said that he was not getting paid for his services.
Yeah. So, question, Kippy, did you ever get paid for being an Enemy North?
No, but here's what I wanted to talk about. This was a subject I wanted to really discuss at length here. Maybe when Ron feels better, he can pitch in and chime. So, all of these anime conventions, they start off small. They usually start off in, universities or colleges as just a 1 or 2 day thing. And then, some of them stay that way. Some of them explode to 20,000 plus people, like Anime North. Anime North now has over 30,000 people as of last year.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. At the beginning, it's probably okay to, request for volunteers because the con isn't making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're looking at Anime North, okay, you have 30,000 people. They all pay $60 for the weekend. And then you have maybe up to 1,000 vendors who maybe pay $500 to $1,000 for tabling, and same with the Artist Alley. So it's not really much of a stretch to say that Anime North, but getting 30,000 people there, but they have a revenue stream of about $4 million every single year. At what point is it do you feel it's morally and ethically viable to pay your staff?
I mean, that's a very good question too. I mean, I just want to ask you really quickly, Gippy, how do you feel about the director of Anime North coming out and saying, after everything that you've done as a staff member, and I'm sure other people in the audience that might be listening now in the future, and you guys can ask yourself this too, how do you feel about the director of Anime North coming out and saying that they have a substantial nest egg to get them through missing a year or two because of the pandemic?
I think that was absolutely. I think that was an absolutely terrible statement. It means, I hate the term nonprofit. I hate the fact that Anime North parades the term nonprofit like it's some source of pride. Okay. The United Way is nonprofit. The United Way CEO earns over $1 million a year. The term nonprofit is basically says, whatever we make out of Anime North, we're going to put back into the con. But Anime North never releases its finances. And, in staff meetings, I'm not going to say the exact details, but I've heard of the executive staff going to different conventions all over the world, like in Japan and the US, and this is to foster relations with other conventions. They have that IOEA thing on their website. So the staff goes on extended vacations to other conventions using the revenue from Anime North. And I find that a little bit jarring. It's like I'm paying for their fun time, their vacation. Well, me not personally, because I haven't paid for Anime North since 2010. Because being a staff member, I got free admission. But like for someone who's going to pay for Anime North, you're going to pay for the executives fun time. Like you don't know where that money is going, and $4 million revenue. Anime North has 1,000 staff. You pay those 1,000 staff $300 for the weekend, so that's $100 a day. That's like minimum wage. Okay, even better because I'm saying that's $100 tax free or something. You just give them a $100 bill for the, $300 $100 bills, one for each day for the weekend. That sets you back $300K. $300K to pay your entire staff $100 a day. That's all it takes out of $4 million revenue. And that's less than 10% of your revenue.
And here's the question, because you said yourself, like some of their best years, like 2008, 2009, whatever it was, some of their best years are behind them. They were not making this much money.
No.
Way back, right?
No. Back in 2008, they were still maybe it was a little bit under 20,000 people. I don't know. Someone wiki it up, but they were only at 20,000 people. Now they're at 30,000 people.
And they're charging more.
And they're charging more, and they still want 1,000 people to, give up many hours of work. And we're going to talk about that, whether or not, it's worth doing events at anime conventions for free anymore. But we'll talk about that later when Ron comes back. But that's the thing. The one convention that I will respect for life that I go to every year, and because I believe it's like one of the only conventions that does it, is Anime NYC. I applied to be staff on Anime NYC, and I was denied because they told me that they paid everyone, and they charge a $90 pass. But I would be, so it's 50% more than Anime North, but I would be more than happy to pay 50% extra, knowing that the additional funds went into paying the staff. And it's New York; it's not cheap. It's way more expensive than Toronto, so there's really no excuse, right? So you can't be staff. You can't even volunteer unless you have a working visa with us. I'm like, that's the best news I've ever heard. I couldn't be happier for the staff that I got denied.
Well, and I know like how much money we put into Kitchener Comic Con, and how much and what moderate success we see with Kitchener Comic Con. But like I can fathom how much, like I can kind of guesstimate it doesn't cost $4 million to run Anime North based on what they bring in and everything else like that. So like I can kind of put two and two together in the noggin here. Like really a lot of their money seems to be held over year to year. I mean, obviously because the director came out and said as much, that he has a nest egg that's going to see them through the financial losses.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, but if you have, and they claim to not pay anybody, which I think is a bunch of bunk. I think they're paying somebody. I think because I've heard from a number of people that they're a paid staff. So I not 100% sure, but it seems like that there's somebody not saying the right thing here.
Well, they certainly don't spend their money. We'll get into that, but they certainly don't spend their money. Again, they did not have an Annie song guest for 10 years after 2008.
Well, and apparently they were looking for excuses to not have other people. I mean, like Vic Mignogna, for example.
They don't bring the industry companies. They don't bring Funimation. They don't bring Sentai Filmworks. They had Crunchyroll for 1 year. I don't know why they don't bring them in anymore. That's probably because of money. They don't bring in young press. So Ron, welcome back. I hope you're feeling better.
Oh, I am. I had a little bit of a cry there. I'm going through a lot of emotional stuff right now. Wait a second. I don't want to trip up the microphone here. I'm going through a little bit of emotional stuff right now. I went through some surgery. Plus, on top of that, well, I'm drinking just a little bit. So, again, the very best of emotions coming out to the forefront of things. And I've been listening to everything you've been saying. And yeah, it's completely eye-opening, because one of the few things I really emphasize through everything you're saying and to accentuate what you're saying as well is that when you're dealing with the largest anime convention in Canada, why aren't people getting paid for their time and trouble? And at the same thing, one of the things about Kitchener Comic Con, just to bring stuff back there, is that we're still a fiddling event initiative. We're still figuring things out, especially in today's excuse me, economic time of things, and it's tough. It's harder than tough. And the thing is, I think you've been saying there, you're absolutely 100% correct, because one of the few things that I was completely flabbergasted with, and I'm going to use this emphasis once again, is that we're dealing with the largest anime convention in Canada. We're not talking about the local kids down the street at the university here trying to string together a convention using their uncle's stage they have in a barn type of thing. We're talking like there's some major stuff here.
Well, let's just point out the obvious here. We're talking about an anime convention that is sponsored, allegedly, sponsored by one of the premier dubbing studios of anime.
Yeah. And we're talking probably several of them, depending on what you're into.
And what I'm saying is, they're Aniplex. Talked about Funimation. They have sponsorship
and Crunchyroll.
Hold on, and Crunchyroll. Yep. But the fact of the matter is, they might not be financial sponsorships. I'm not going to sit here and say like they're getting like X amount of money from them. What could be happening is that they're being sponsored by getting free guests in.
That's true.
And so they might have an X amount of a bank that they can charge towards having, a Jamie Markey, for example.
Yeah, for sure.
Into their event. So like, I don't believe for a second that there is not money out there to be invested into their fans. I don't think that for a second, if they're able to sit through and apparently claim that they still have to pay for all of these different things and et cetera, and they still have to pay for all these contracts, and then still be okay. They're still good for another couple of years.
Yeah.
That has me pressing X to doubt. Like, so where's the money for the people that are doing all the work that are bringing us in? First of all,
well,
because I hear things, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I've heard that there is mandatory meetings for staff members, which they have to travel for.
I'll tell you about that. Oh, no.
Oh, there's a few things I want to add to that as well.
They have to be there in person for that certain people can Skype into it, that they have to attend certain amount of meetings or else they'll be removed from staff, that they have to do all of this other stuff for free. That in recent years, in the past 5 years or so, that Anime North has stopped paying for their staff's hotel rooms. They have stopped paying for their staff's passes. Like, staff has to buy passes now, and they don't reimburse them.
That's a first.
I've heard of all of this stuff.
Yeah.
That last part was relatively recent, last couple of years. So please tell me how an anime convention, which has been running for God knows how long at this point, that has seen extreme success in the early 2000s to mid 2000s, that has apparently like coasted for the past 10 years. How the fuck can they sit on $4 million a year? A rough estimate. I don't know how much they make.
It's going to be 4 million. Yeah,
it's a lot of money. It's basically enough to get them through a pandemic without even breaking a sweat. How can that happen when you have a staff that large and you refuse to pay anybody and you cut back the perks?
And one of the few things that one of the few perks they cut back on, and this is one of the few things that some of my friends that still volunteer in there, is that, remember the free all you can eat sushi thing that they used to have there for all the staff members there at Gimpy?
Yes, it was the Yep.
Yeah. And the thing is, they totally cut back on that because the restaurant went out of business or something like that type of thing.
Yep, the Imperial Buffet, it's gone. Yep.
Yeah. And one of the few things I used to do for my gaming staff as well is I used to bring up the movies and stuff like that. I made sure everyone paid for their passes, but one of the few things we used to do as well is that everyone who paid, I made sure that Anime North basically refund them the actual money back type of thing. So basically moving forward from that point in thing, which is probably the golden years type of thing. I honestly don't know, because one of the few things about running our own event there, Crumb, is that there are grants and bursaries and stuff like that could easily.
I'm going to pause you right there for a second, though.
Yeah,
I do not at all compare our event to Anime North.
Well, neither do I.
I can tell you right now. I can tell everyone in the fucking listening audience right now. If we had the budget of Anime North,
fuck,
you would see a show that would shut down the entire convention scene without a pandemic.
My honest opinion, and I'm not just saying this to sound grandiose, I think we could rival Fan Expo.
We definitely, honestly, with a budget like that, we could.
Yep.
With a budget like that, we could make a San Diego Comic-Con North. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
The fact that they're sitting on
agree.
that, the fact that they're sitting on that budget, and the fact that Anime North has been complacent in where it's been sitting for 15 fucking years,
if not more.
And if not more, it has had the ear of Southern Ontario and so close to Quebec and Montreal, which is an anime hotspot. You're telling me that they cannot put on a fucking event that rivals something like a San Diego Comic-Con?
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing in Canada that is San Diego Comic-Con. There is nothing in Canada that is a Kamea-Con.
Yep.
Nothing even close.
FanX. Yeah.
Nothing even close.
Yeah.
And Fan Expo is its own thing. But Fan Expo is an expo. So, like, how can you tell me that Anime North can sit here for so long and just reap the rewards off of good people for literally doing nothing?
It's because geeks are too nice. I mean, when a geek wants to contribute, they want to do it for the love of the fandom, and they're not looking. They're altruistic. We are altruistic people. I was a fan subber. I fan subbed an entire visual novel. I didn't really get any money out of it. No, that's 80,000 lines of script, along with a couple of my friends. So like we do things for free for the things we like, and I feel that. It's not just for the anime fandom, but it's just the geek fandom in general that we're so passionate about what we do is that we're willing to take some chops to get the event done. But then that only works for the first couple of years, and then you want to see something out of it. It's like the artists in the artist alley, they have great art, they get paid. The dealers in the dealer's room, they get paid. Why can't the staff of a 30,000 person anime convention get paid?
Yeah. So I gotta ask you, Gippy, how does it make you feel that your hard work and people like I don't know, people like the like Duckman, for example, that literally just pour their heart and soul out to a convention with nothing in return. They don't get anything in return. Yeah, Duckman was restricted from putting out his money box because that would have been soliciting. But when he was here, he did that at Young and Dundas and got a lot of money, but he wasn't allowed to do that at Anime North. But my question is, why not? He's a phenomenon. Like, I fucking know about him.
It is fucking.
I don't pay attention to this shit. I know who Duckman is. So why the fuck wouldn't you let him point out his fucking cash box?
I am going to jump in really clear, very, very quickly here. I think it comes down to fucking ego. Because think about it. Let's look at Duckman, which is basically an entertainer who I really respect and truly love as well. The thing is, you got someone like Duckman who shows up and he's got his drum set sitting right in front of the grassy knoll of the TTC. and yeah, you got it. And the thing is that he's just drumming away, and everyone is giving his attention. The thing is that that's going to cut away from ego in 8.2 seconds. And I think it's one of the few things that I sort of, and again, this is after my time working with that event initiative. But the thing is that AN should have been bent over backwards saying, okay, we got Duckman here. What can we do to make sure that this works every single year? Let me tell you, they haven't. Let me tell you one thing that I would do as an event organizer. I'm getting a little spicy here because I'm getting in my third cup of Baileys. As an event organizer, if I saw somebody out there busting his ass, wearing his fucking soul on his fucking sleeve, doing what Duckman did, legit, not even a fucking citizen of our country, coming in here just trying to make a life for himself, trying to better the experience of people, I would offer that man a free fucking table. Yep. And the thing is that how much does that fucking cost an event? What's that? Next to fucking nothing, or at least as Gimpy was saying here, put him on stage for a little bit because heaven forbid you have other individuals that are putting raves together and stuff like that. Like I will say, as an event like Anime North, maybe a booth or a table's too much, but you have a lot of fucking performance space. Carve out a fucking performance space for the guy. Let him shill for fucking pocket change. Yeah, it's like, honestly, what are you taking away? You're taking away a couple of dollars from people. Like, they're throwing them a toonie, they're throwing them a fiver.
Like,
and if anyone complains, who gives a flying fuck? You know what I mean?
If anyone complains, let's just put it this way.
Yeah.
Right. If some random fucking Yahoo dressed up in a duck costume that can slam on a bongo can get more money out of you than someone who puts their time and effort into drawing art and is basically sitting at a table and staring at their table and not engaging people, you don't deserve that money. He does.
Yep. Oh no, for sure. And on top of that, one of the things like to add in here, isn't it kind of fucking weird that when Duckman had to leave because his visa ran out, that City TV did a full, not 1 but 2 day segment on him?
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, the people at Anime North didn't do a goddamn fucking thing except for our Facebook page we put together.
Facebook posts. Yep.
And the thing is that into itself should be a really kick in the head to the executive team at AN. It really fucking should, because that guy didn't have to do what he had to do. And on top of something else I'd like to add as well is that guy actually looked down at the Christian right movement that was coming in the Anime North and just fucking shoulder tackled every single one of them by basically preaching nothing but love and understanding. And the thing is, that just boggles my fucking mind. Oh, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional.
You have people that are making money at Anime North. Like, obviously, vendors go there, they make money. I'm not criticizing them. Artists go there, they make money. I'm not criticizing them. But the fact of the matter is,
and there's nothing wrong with that,
if the people inside the building are pissed off because people outside the building are making more money than them, they should turn their ire onto the event organizers for not doing enough to bring people in the fucking building.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yep.
Because I can tell you, in my trip to Anime North, there was no reason to be inside because everything was happening outside.
Yep. Isn't it kind of interesting how they moved a good chunk? I wouldn't say a good chunk. I would say the popular chunk of the outside as well, especially doing raves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Very, very telling. Very fucking telling.
Yeah, well, you know, I was inside all the time because I run game shows, so you can't really do those outside unless.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is that there's nothing wrong with that, because that's part of the quintessential aspect of the programming of an event initiative.
Yeah,
sorry,
but they don't advertise us enough. That's the thing, right?
I will ask, Skippy, were your game shows being run in the main vendor hall, or were they being run in a side hotel?
They were being run in the main hotel. It was called the DoubleTree. Then it was called the International Plaza.
Yeah.
International Plaza. The nickname was the Single Tree because the logo changed. It looks like one tree instead of two.
But the point is they didn't have any fucking programming or anything of interest in the vendors room, the vendors area.
Oh, okay. We'll get to that. Yeah, because we're only at 2014, and it's been an hour and a half. The spiciest stuff is still to come.
Yeah, lead on. I got more skill than me.
You're awesome. I got more liquor here, so if I got to cry for a couple of minutes, Chris will take me off.
My last super awesome memory in 2014, before we say goodbye to it, because it was the first year that I ran my own game show called Anime Speed Tune, which is still running to this day. The reason why I started Anime Speed Tune is because I took a look at. I'm a very competitive person, you know. I've done some competitive gaming and so on and so forth, and I saw what Anime North had with Anime Name That Tune, the person running it. I mean, the person's a really nice person, but he didn't watch any of the latest anime, and he had a playlist that rarely changed year after year. So what the top players were doing were they were going to previous year's events, looking at the video, memorizing the songs, because those exact same songs would come up again the following year. And so I said, this is not a good game show. I'm going to run my version of it. I'm going to run it my way. And Anime Speed Tune has grown into its own thing. And now I've had like a large following that follows me to every convention, like a little bit of following that follows me to every convention I go to. And they just want to keep playing the game. Two people in particular, which are incredible players. 2 people have 10 out of the 15 championships, and they've won combined 30 games. One of them's from Montreal. He traveled all the way to Toronto every single year just to play my event. And because of him, I eventually was able to host Anime Speedtoon at Otakuthon in Montreal, and I'll talk about that. So those type of people are the ones that I listen to, and because they love my event so much, I work extra hard to keep them on their toes, to design new gimmicks and such, because those are the people I want to please, and they're really happy with my game, and I've become good friends with them. And
Razor EXE says Chris and Clive.
Yeah, those are the 2 Hall of Famers. Basically, I gave them a Hall of Fame trophy in 2018. We'll get to that. That's 2018. But
cool.
Again, the videos are on YouTube. And if you've never seen a game of Anime Speedtoon, just watch one. It's probably going to blow your mind away. I put hundreds of hours of work into it because we pre-cut the songs. After every song, there's an info page that pops up with information about the anime in particular. So that is 200 Photoshop slides because the board has 200 tunes.
Jesus,
so it's a lot of work, but I do it every single year. Right now, and we'll get to more later. But also, I entered the AMV contest for the second and last time, and I actually got first place at the AMV contest because they allowed staff to enter. But it even has my name in it right there. So Anime North 2014. Cool. I won the AMV contest using it was a really simple challenge. You had to do an AMV without any special effects. So I'm doing that, and I win.
Erratic Assassin says still in training for the Speedtoons in 2021.
A lot of people here, they're fans of Speedtoons. So here's 2015. The first year where I feel that Anime North began to go woke, and this is
oh fuck yeah, hit us, brother.
Coincidentally, wasn't 2016 the first year that they did not invite Vic back or shadow banned him or something?
I have no idea. I wasn't part of guest relations. I just wanted to run my game shows.
I'll leave that up to the people listening to do the research, but
yeah, okay. 2015. So you might be interested as to why it's starting with this instead of the program book. The program book was still here, okay? So that hasn't been gone yet, but it's very interesting. Normally, panelists go through a vetting process where you need to organize your panelists in their message board, get 4 people on board, and then have 3 or 4 people on board, and then have the panelist coordinator accept your panel into the program. And a lot of people apply, and a lot of people get turned down because either they don't get 4 people or there's not enough room. This is the point where friends of the Anime North executives started getting their own panels auto approved without any vetting and without any due process. One of the few
things I like that as well is that smaller conventions like Kitchener Comic-Con only has 1 programming track to the whole weekend. AN has at least 6 programming tracks because they got 6 different rooms they can rub things in. So when you hear stuff like that, that's like, are you kidding me? You're telling me that some kid who basically put a lot of time and energy together to get their friends together and stuff like that can't get a programming track? Really? But anyways, please continue. I just wanted to check. In
particular, 2015 had probably, it might not have been the first, but it's the one that got a lot of attention. Right over here, I'm not sure if the focus is a little bit out, but you see here, there's a panel called Doing Something About Climate Change. I'm going to read the description here.
Oh my gosh. All right.
The world must eliminate 80% of its greenhouse gas emissions by 2050 to bring climate change under control. This presentation will offer the options that Ontario has if it is to largely eliminate its use of fossil fuels in the next 35 years.
That's a really weird. That's a really weird title for an anime.
For
that's a little bit too verbose, I think.
Verbose. That's extremely polite. I would
zero out of 10 stupid. Would not watch. I mean, that sounds like a really weird spin-off of Captain Planet, to be honest.
Jesus. at an anime convention? Who cleared that hot garbage? Do you know there?
Yeah. So here's what happened. People saw this and people started complaining about it on the message boards. So Eileen, being the dictator that she is a terrible person to work for. I'm not going to work for Anime North again as long as Eileen's on staff, an executive. But I wasn't going to bring her up, but you brought her up, so it's like, oops,
I did. Sorry.
Like, I'm not going to bring anyone up until.
Doesn't even have to do with an anime con.
The thing is, Eileen made a threat on, threatened people. Was like, if you criticize this, you're going to get banned from the forum. This is going in and.
What? Wait a second. Hard stop for a quick second. She fucking said what?
If you criticize our programming, you are going to get banned from the forum.
Oh my fucking Christ.
Was that in a meeting or was that in like text based?
Well, that was at the message board, but it won't happen anymore because this was before everyone started archiving things with archive.is and other web archivers, because the message board gets cleared every year because they want to, they don't. One thing that you'll find that Anime North is very good at is not leaving a paper trail. Other than the stuff that I discover off their official social media posts, a lot of people in staff meetings, very little gets leaked out because a lot of the staff at Anime North, they're deathly afraid of the executives. They don't want to speak out against the executives because Anime North is the only con that they can go to. Maybe it's the only con that they can afford. I myself only went to Anime North. It was my only con until 2011. Until I graduated from post-secondary, I was able to afford to be able to go to other conventions, not just in the country, but in the USA. I went to Anime Boston in 2011. So,
oh wow,
for a lot of people, Anime North is the only home they have, and they want to stay in staff for as long as possible. They don't want to stir the pot. So,
yeah, maybe that's one of the few things I did incorrectly, because one of the few things I used to do when I was running, the department I was running, is that I couldn't care. Like one of the few things that Crumb could actually clue in here. When I say I couldn't care, I mean it. And the thing is that my staff members were so important to me. It was ridiculous. So, yeah, just craziness.
Well, speaking about important things, this is probably a good time to bring this back in. Gonna bring in the Canuckleheads official merchandise. Ah!
Show that.
Show the merchandise. We got the Canuckleheads official T-shirt. Woo! That is a full print. Look at this stuff. I mean, you got different colors for the collars. Like, I personally like the red one, but
yeah, I really
front
do the
and back, and back, full print, full cover. We got ourselves fleece blankets for sale, as well. We got ourselves stickers, and there is 10% off if you join the Patreon. Both links for this and the store are below. If you join the Patreon, you get 10% off. You get a 10% off code for anything in this Teespring store. So give it a check out. It's really good stuff.
And Cress, who put these designs together?
It was yours truly.
There you go. So basically,
I came up with all this myself.
And basically supporting a local artist, putting all the vision together. And the thing is that's just that important. It's super duper important.
Honestly, like I'm not making a buck off of these. So the Teespring, you can put the pricing to whatever. I put it at the absolute bare minimum, so I'm not making a profit on these at all. I'm making like maybe 50 cents on a shirt. I didn't make it for me to make money off of it. I made it for you guys to enjoy the merch and show off the show. So take advantage of it.
And one of the things I like to add to all this as well. Again, the thing is that when you have like a background design, a foreground design, that takes a lot of thinking to put together. And the thing is that support the fucking shirt. Give Crumb a couple of bucks, for goodness sakes. There's nothing wrong with that. So again, supporting your local artists is just as important. It's super duper important. So
all right. So we'll get back to the main topic at hand.
Let's get back to the buffet. This is very tasty.
Was the year that I felt that a convention in Canada surpassed Anime North. In 2015, Otakuthon in Montreal made the very surprising announcement. It shocked everyone that they were inviting not one, but two Anisong guests. The band called Angela, and another band you might have heard of, Flow. And Flow does the Code Geass opening and so on. They're really, really super popular.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
I said I'm going to do Anime Speedtune at Otakuthon 2015. I'm going to go there. It's going to be my first time. Look at this. You see this? This is the Anime North program. You notice that it's with a few color pages here, but this thing's in black and white, right? See this thing? It's all black and white, right?
If you don't mind, show it up the camera one more time there for all those people who didn't quite catch it the first time around.
Okay, so this is the 2015 program, and
one second. I'd like to interject really quickly. Is that the Pocket Program Guide, or is that the new
it's the
program?
big, we're going to get into that. This is the big program, but look, see, it's mostly black and white with all the programming stuff.
Yeah.
So this is the Otakuthon program from 2015. There's a smaller convention.
There's
2,
a difference.
they cost less money. 3, they have an Any-song guest. Look at this. It is entirely in color. The whole thing is in color.
What is the size dimension of that?
Not the ads. It's like 8.5 by 11. It's the same size as the Anime North thing, but the whole thing is in freaking color. That's how you do a program. Okay, so the person pictures in black and white, but everything's in color. My goodness. So they spent the budget on this because they know that the program is important. And the pocket guide, look at this. This I covered with the climate change panel. It's all in black and white too. Oh, they didn't skimp on this. This is the program guide for Otakuthon. It is also entirely in color, and it has everything sorted out very neatly and organized, whereas the Anime North program, if you've ever seen it, it's an absolute mess.
Gamerhands Jr. says Otakuthon was a hype experience, and Razor EXE says they have an online guide that's easy to use as well.
Yeah. So I went, and that convinced me that even though Otakuthon had about 8,000 to 10,000 less people than Anime North, it was a superior con.
Well, they honestly, from everything that I've seen, from Otakuthon to Anime North, and I've only heard about stories about Otakuthon reminds me of like the European conventions. They actually give a damn about what they put forward, about the stuff that they put in, about the effort that they put in. It seems like they really actually care.
Yep.
So I know it's far away for a lot of people, but I implore you, once they return back in 2021, save up your money. Montreal has a huge hostel scene because this hostel scene came about because Montreal used to be like the music capital, like all the big music festivals. Osheaga, they used to go to Montreal, so then there's huge tourist hostel scene opened up. So you can get a room for cheap as long as you have certain expectations.
Exactly.
Hotels are more expensive than in Toronto though, but that's because there is a huge hostel scene. So I give it a try. The entire con is inside, air conditioned. The subway station is right beneath the con, literally.
Yes.
And then you have the subway station right beneath it. So none of this. I need to take a bus for 45 minutes.
So that's one thing I'm really curious about. That hopefully you guys can enlighten me and perhaps the viewing audience a little bit about as well. How completely fucking devoid the main area of Anime North is.
Well, one of the few things I want to jump into really, really quickly is that at Otakucon, when I was actually doing some gaming stuff for them back in the day, is that the architecture where their actual convention is, as well as where the actual transit system is absolutely fantastic. So the thing is that when you're looking at something like AN, especially being hosted at the TCC, followed by the DoubleTree from back of basically lack of a better terminology, it's really night and day. Because the thing is that you got one of the few things about Montreal, which I truly loved, is the actual architecture downtown Montreal. And the thing is that one of the few things I like to add is that one of the few things I like to add is that even with my budget restraints that people may know of, is that I traveled 18 hours in one direction just to get to Otakucon. And I gotta tell you, it was worth the trip.
So
really, really was.
my previous question, Otakuthon's great.
Yep.
I'm not here to dispute that at all.
Yep.
My question is, like, Anime North has like 4 or 5 different areas, right?
Yeah.
They have like 4 or 5 different venue spaces. But walking into their main quote unquote main area, it is empty. There is so much empty space. There is so much stuff that they're just not using.
Yeah.
Why aren't they sticking more stuff in there?
Because I personally think it comes down to ego and stuff like that. Because again, at the TTC, that's where all the vendors are. So the thing is that's where their main actual
5 areas,
yeah. And the thing is that's where the major thing, because every individual area that AN has, that company's towards an actual, oh god, what's the terminology I want to use here? I'm gonna screw it up. Fuck it. Is that they manage to sell enough hotel rooms to get free vending space at the particular area. But the problem is that if the vendors know about this, or basically found out about this, why are they spending $500 on an actual booth?
Well, this is my question though. They have an entire fucking arena basically.
Yep.
And they're using 10% of it.
Oh, exactly.
Like I remember one year they even stuck a fucking wrestling ring next to it, and it was still not even 10% of the fucking building.
You're absolutely correct. And the thing is, what it comes down to is that Anime North has a bit of a problem because, again, you get 2 aspects going on that, as far as I'm concerned with, is that you get the programming aspect of Anime North, and then you have the natural gathering of peoples coming together. Because the thing is that, again, one of the 2 things that Gimpy here could actually really recall with is that, again, when you got the grassy knoll of Anime North full of fucking kids just hanging out with their shoes off, running around the grass aspect of things, you've got no synergy behind that. But meanwhile, in Montreal, you definitely do.
Well, it comes down to this.
Yeah.
It comes down to them having a fucking reason to be inside.
Well, you got it. And one of the few things I wanted to say in conjunction to my previous statement is that it really doesn't take that much for getting a bunch of kids from the high school level, college level, or university level become event coordinators and have special on the spot events in the actual hotel area and stuff like that. And the thing is that they refuse not to do that because maybe
they have tons of stuff in the hotel.
Yeah, but maybe it's a lack of foresight.
I'm saying as an attendee,
I
don't care about the hotels.
Of course,
all of that shit, great.
Yeah,
each hotel has its own theme. Amazing, great, that's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I want shit to do in the fucking vendors area.
Of course,
there's nothing to do in there. And the thing is, stare at 45 different pop vendors that are selling the same fucking thing.
And allow me to be forward here. The thing is that when you buy $120 or maybe $150 or maybe an $80,
why am I buying that?
Well, what's that? Allow me to come to it. What are you doing? And the thing is that I could answer that question before you even think of the answer. The question is, you're buying product. And the thing is, if you're not buying product at TTC, then why bother type of thing?
That's what I'm saying. Why am I buying a pass at that point?
Well, you ready for this? Here's a question for you. Why in the fuck did you buy a pass? Did you buy a pass to support the event? Did you buy a pass because it was socially acceptable? Did you buy a pass because it was a social norm? Like, why did you buy a pass?
I can tell you I bought a pass because I thought that's what I needed to get into the fucking convention.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Isn't that sort of the green, the Wizard of Oz green curtain type of thing? You have to buy a pass, but meanwhile, you're hanging out with the fucking kids down the grassy knoll, for God's sake.
What Gippy's what's Gippy going to say?
Yeah, funny you should say that. They only check for passes when you enter the TCC.
Yeah.
If you enter the Delta, you could literally sneak into a panel room and they wouldn't check. So it's you can go into panels and not pay the pass. Now, as a staffer for game shows, I know game shows we didn't have extra staff to check for passes, but I checked for passes if they came up as a player. So if you played on one of my game shows, you had to have a pass. Otherwise, they just didn't give us enough staff to reinforce, pass checking. Because there's way too many rooms in the Delta, but it means that if you were a panels only person, you could, essentially go to the con for free.
Yeah, and one of the few things I'd like to quickly jump in there as well, back when I was running gaming for back in the day, there were talks about making a separate all weekend gaming pass just for the sake of people could spend a little less money than they would for a full AM pass type of thing. And the thing is that I had both the staff members and the volunteer members to actually make sure that anyone that came into the special programming areas had to have a pass before they walked in. As a matter of fact, the thing is that what I used to do back in the day is I used to walk around without a pass. And one of the few things, the reason why I did that is I wanted to make sure that my staff members and my volunteer members were checking people walking into those rooms, for goodness sakes. And the thing is, again, I kind of got caught a couple of times, which was quite refreshing because I knew that the idea was working. But long story short, again, I personally think it all comes down to vision, if you know what I mean. And what I mean by that is sort of like, again, seeing that what works, move forward with that, and basically put dollars behind that type of thing. And the thing is that it comes down to value, I suppose. I don't know.
All right.
It gets confusing.
Yeah. All right. So it continues.
Oh, it does. Please retort.
One. So this is the very last time that Anime North would produce a full program guide. And here, it still continues with the practice of all the staff, just a list, none of their positions, all their staff, none of their positions. You'll notice that in particular here, that's noticeable, is that the center, there's no center color insert. Now the entire thing is now black and white. The last one I showed you last year had a center color insert. Now, nothing. You only have color for this and that, right? So
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
It's just the two of us now.
So now,
continue.
2017. The front cover is.
What is that?
Color. This is gone. This cover thing is gone. Basically, what they did was they made this slightly larger, and they removed the program book in a cost-cutting measure.
So what is that particular publication you have in your hand overall then?
Now in the past you had the program guide, which had long descriptions of events and staff files and everything.
Oh, goodness gracious! Yep.
The schedule, which is usually printed later and has the panel descriptions and the schedules themselves.
And on top of that, we used to call that back in the day the actual pocket program guide, right?
Yeah. Now this is they rolled everything into one as a cost-cutting measure. Now here's a huge insult. You go here, see this? Mm-hmm. Where is the staff list? Oh, the staff list is gone. That's it.
Wow.
So this was the very first year that they did not credit any of the staff at Anime North.
And I'm assuming they only credit the actual head coordinators of the different departments?
If that.
I don't even think
Welcome back, Russ.
They said that they were going to credit everyone on the website. Obviously, it didn't happen. So
big
here's
surprise.
the thing. This was the point where it started to really go woke, and I think the executives wanted to go back from the limelight because at this point, at 2017, the con had ballooned to 30,000 people. So they were content to no longer be the front faces of the convention, the executives. They just wanted to come in and take all their money. Now, here's the criticism that I heard from a lot of people when they looked at this. Okay, when you look at the and this is something it's a very sensitive topic, and I want to treat it with the utmost care, and I want your opinion on this, Crumb. When a lot of people looked at this pocket guide, right, the schedule, note that in previous years you had everything in the International Plaza, the Delta, the DoubleTree, all on one page. You had Yowie North, the TCC, and Crown Plaza, which was Dahl North, on the other page. This is the general programming track. This is the more niche section. Makes
sense.
I think Yowie North is a very good thing. It's it's got a lot of content. It's got a lot of programming. But if you're not into Yaoi North, if you're not into those type of events, you could just turn the page and just read the left. You could just turn the page.
You could just pretend it doesn't exist.
You can read the left side. 2017 was the year that they force-fed Yaoi North into the schedule. So you had a lot of people, and I overheard this while I'm walking around. Why does this con have so much gay stuff? Because here's how it was sorted. This is why people were complaining about it. Because now you have, look at the schedule. It says International Plaza on 2 pages, but then when you turn the page, you have the Holiday Inn. That's where Yaoi North is. You have the Crown Plaza and you have the Sheraton all on one section. And there's no way to avoid it. You have to thumb through the Yaoi North and Doll North sections in order to read the general programming track. And people were very annoyed by this. Now, no one in the staff meetings brought it up. Some people brought it up in the tea house. Those messages were promptly deleted because here's the thing.
Wow.
No one in staff wanted to bring it up because if you bring this sort of stuff up, guess what happens?
Yep.
They're going to call you a bigot. They're going to call you an ist. They're going to call all the ists,
call you alt-right,
all the phobes, all the ists and all the phobes because you're criticizing something that's part of a protected class.
And Lady Phoenix says last time Vic was at Anime North was at 2010.
So
thank you so much for that.
I want to get your thoughts on this, Crumb. If do you think that organizing this so that everyone has to thumb through stuff that they don't want to see? And look, gaming. Here's the thing. You see this? Gaming is all on one separate page.
I want to jump into that, but I want Crumb to go first.
Why couldn't Yaoi North have one page for all of their events, maybe in a separate section? Why is all the Yaoi North stuff mixed in with the general programming stuff? And do you think this is a good idea in general? Because Yaoi North was all in one separate building.
I mean, like, it's really fucking stupid, honestly, to take what is an anime convention, what's supposed to be geared towards children, right? It's supposed to be geared towards kids. It's supposed to be geared towards young teens. Why are we force-feeding kids sexuality and sexually charged based content? Number one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at this. See, there's Star Wars, and then right on the next page, look at that BDSM 101. Oh yeah.
Well, I want to jump in really quickly, but of course, before I do, Crumb, are you done with your deposition?
My point is, for as expensive, quote unquote, as it would be, because we're getting into the later years of Anime North, I'm pretty sure they could dump the extra $1,000 to print them off. What is the fucking problem with printing a PG-13 program guide and then printing an 18+ program guide? What's the problem?
Yeah, or having a Yaoi North booklet separate completely.
I mean, like,
or have it online for fuck's sakes.
Well, I'm not even saying like cut it out completely. I'm saying separate the adult content from your kids' content, because at this point, Anime North is gearing towards children, right? You have kids that have grown up with Anime North for 10, 15 years at this point. And they're having kids. They're bringing their kids in.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's like you have to be at some degree of fucking responsible with it. At what point do you say, yeah, I probably don't want to shove like fucking SpongeBob fan art of him like fucking Patrick. I don't want to shove that down the throat of children that don't necessarily care about that. Like, have a fucking separate program guide, or at least a sublet, which you can like, because you know who's buying your goddamn stuff, right? It's not like you're just like, surprise, here you go. Like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm like 14. You know who's buying your stuff. And if they don't have ID, like, you're not giving them a fucking, like, you're not letting them in panels. So why the hell would you give them a fucking program guide that has like BDSM and stuff in it? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, my turn. I am very, very disappointed at the individual who's currently running the gaming department at AN. There's a lot of blood and a lot of sacrifice that went in that gaming area. And have it only consist of one fucking page? Are you kidding me?
Well, that's probably not their choice.
Well, the thing is that I want to continue on with this. One of the few things I used to do with my limitations to an individual who's dyslexic and so forth is that I made sure that there was actual panel descriptions, gaming descriptions, and stuff like that. So it actually was fully of just one page. Plus, on top of that, if you're running, I want to emphasize this one more time, an international hotel, excuse me. Plus, on top of that, the thing is that, again, when you're having stuff like that, especially introducing BDSM and stuff like that type of thing, and I'm totally fucking up an acronym, but it doesn't fucking matter. The bottom line is that what is your audience? Who is your audience? Is it kids? Is it pervert adults? Like, come on here. And the thing is that, again, the executives, and we know who the executives are, should fucking know better, especially physically printing stuff such as that. And one of the few things I always want to make perfectly crystal clear when I used to run the gaming stuff back in the day, I wanted the Sheraton Hotel to be exclusively gaming, and that was it. And have the Yaoi stuff and everything else like that in a separate hotel with their own programming track and stuff like that. Just to make sure there was no incidents taking place and stuff like that. But the bottom line is that, again, from what I used to be a part of to that, that's a complete slap in the face with all the individuals who built the actual gaming department up to that level, to have it cut down to stuff, as you said before, completely woke initiative. And the thing is that just fucking sad.
Yeah. Because this was around the time, that cosplay is not, the cosplay is not consent movement. And, I completely agree with that. Obviously, cosplay is not consent. But I feel that people have warped and twisted the idea to go for that to be beyond cosplays. Like, if you criticize any sort of thing that might, offend someone, any sort of decision that might offend someone, then, you're a bigot. And, there's you cannot question anything that the executives or the programming directors do. And so they're free to run amok doing this sort of stuff, removing the program guide and, castrating it to just this. Whereas while every other convention has a program book, look.
That's a crying shame.
This is Otakuthon's last year, Otakuthon's 2019. They still have the program book. It is still in full color. And in 2019 was the very first year that they did RFID cards, high tech. So they didn't need anyone to check for passes. All you do is beep, scan, done. You're in. And look, it's very flexible. I heard at Anime North 2019, I wasn't there, but their passes were peeling apart because they were cheap. And they got
you know what? Total side note here. I totally hear that as well, especially the hole that the pass was punched into.
Yeah.
And one of the few things that had a huge major what's what terminology was using here? They had a physical problem with the passes because, again, the hole where the actual pass was as well was so thin is that anyone that connected to a lanyard completely broke off. So you had a whole bunch of clients that went back to MNO and said, hey, look, I was running around on the grassy knoll and the wind pushed my pass off and it broke in half. Can I please have a new one? And of course, I said, of course you can, but it's going to cost you double. I don't know, was it 1/4 of the actual pass to replace it? It's like, what? It's like, yeah. And it's like, oh my goodness gracious. And it's just completely asinine because one of the few things at KCC is that, again, we have the stronger plastic, stuff like that. And at the same time, as it may look a little amateurish compared to other passes, the thing is that there's a lot of grassroots and artistic aspect behind it type of thing. And we make sure there's an actual, physical aspect behind it. Also, on top of that, if you horribly don't mind, do you have this year's KCC guide there? At your fingertips?
Do you mean this or the schedule?
That would be perfect. At the same time, if you could hold it up towards last year's AN booklet, that'd be kind of cool. Because the thing is that we could almost show a sliding scale of exactly how big an AN.
One on me, but this is the 2017 one's the exact same size, and then you want to overlap it. Oh, look, your guide is actually larger.
It's always about the size, isn't it? But however, long story short, one of the reasons why we ran with that particular production size is that, again, it's like we wanted to make it more like a comic book fanzine type like publication, and that was specifically designed for that. And the thing is, again, we're running with what, Crumb? 1/4 or 1/8 of the actual of the actual income what AM produces, and it's like we're bigger. we're bigger. And it's just crazy. Plus, on top of that, one of the things we did this year exclusively is that we made multiple covers, just like we do in the comic book industry. And we had a regular publication on top of that, which was our top play cosplayer. And I think that it's all about giving back to the general community. And that's very, very important to us. And the thing is, I'm very surprised that AN has included into that, especially how many fucking years they've been in operation for.
Like, when is KCC going to go full color like Otaku-thon?
Well, basically what it comes down to it is that, in all honesty, I believe working within our means.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, and at the same time, this does not mean being cheap. Like, as an example, if we had the money, like I printed off the regular program guide in full color. I so wanted to run with that because, again, the romance of it, the actual, all the hard work that went into it would be absolutely fantastic. But when it came down to it, it came down to cost cutting. And the thing is that we couldn't really afford to run a print run at the actual cost it would be for full color. So one of the few things I made sure that took place is that I made sure that the paper for the actual cover was full gloss, 60 pound, to be honest with you. And I made sure that the internal paper was at least on 20 pound. Reason being is that it had that same feel as buying an ash can from back in the day at your local comic book shop. And that's the feel that I really wanted to run with. And at the same time here is that if we had more sponsorship within the actual program inside itself, you have no idea how full tilt I would go with printing it full color on a full web press and stuff like that. And one of the few things, and I'm quite surprised you don't have that in your show and tell aspect, is that when I was running AN Gaming, we ran with a full 60-pound gloss, full color print run.
Oh, did you have an AN Gaming? Did that actually have its own booklet?
It did, sir. It absolutely did. And it ran for 2 years. And the thing is that I made sure that some of the biggest gaming publishers in North America was fully engaged with that half-page ads and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And one of the few things that brought the actual different publishers to the table is that, like, hi, my name is Ronald Hopp. I'm representing Anime North's gaming department. And the thing is that we have a walkthrough traffic of over 30K within attendance. And on top of that, this is our print run for this. Would you be interested in getting involved with a half a page ad with our program guide exclusively for gaming? And they said, yeah, sure, no problem. Done. But however, the thing is that when you're starting off small and you're starting off with the grassroots stuff, you really can't say that. You know what I mean? And at the same time, our print run is a lot smaller. Our walkthrough traffic is a lot smaller. But however, the bottom line is that it's the largest part of my foreign language fucking event the Wilder region has seen.
Yeah, this is really good. But you're saying that if you had $4 million, definitely full.
If we had that budget, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, and on top of that, the thing is that Crumb would kick my ass to make sure that was done properly, and I had no problems except the beats up and down the block down.
If we had a fraction of that fucking budget, like, you guys think I'm kidding? Y'all think I'm kidding? If we had a fraction of that budget, do you know what kind of show we could put on?
Oh,
we wouldn't need we wouldn't need a pandemic to shut the city down.
This is absolutely true. What was that? What was that last thing that was posted up there? Did you catch that, Crumb?
Yeah, it's Blaze Fire sent us as 4 of the KCC variants, 4 covers, 4 program guides.
Yeah. And the thing is that that's just some of the fun stuff we managed to capture from the whole publishing industry. But however, the thing is that I am quite surprised because here's a question for you, Gimpy. Do you have the Gimpy? Sorry, I keep fucking it up.
Gimpy.
Gimpy was from, wasn't he the from undergrads?
He was from
yes, and that's why I keep getting caught up on that. And I apologize.
I wish there was a season 2. I know that there's been so many times they wanted to make the season 2, but just wasn't in the cards.
Well, the thing is that just off topic here, did you realize that the creator of undergrads is actually putting a movie together? And the thing is that right now they're struggling with all the nuances of the different rights they signed off to. But however, I heard there's a movie coming down sometime soon, and that'd be cool because one of the few things I was in college with is I used to watch that particular animation production an awful lot. So again,
getting back to the Anime North stuff,
what was your
just
question?
briefly. Yeah, just briefly. I personally would like to know, because first of all, how much left do you have in the tank there, Gippy?
That was 2017. 2018 is the longest because it was my final year. So that one had dragged.
Hit it up.
So 2018 was the final year of Anime North. Now, here's the thing. I didn't like what Anime North was going towards. However, at this point, I felt it would be a completely selfish move on my part to leave Anime North. The reason being is that I had grown a significant number of fans at that point who went to every single one of my game shows, and I felt it would be completely selfish to just walk up and leave. If I had been a volunteer, not doing any events, I would have been gone long ago. But I just wanted to, forget about the drama, forget about all of these, little micro changes that are for the worse, but they have added up, right? Like getting rid of the program, forcing people to be woke, all that stuff. Forget about that. I just want to put on a good show. I want to put on my events. So here's what happened on Saturday night. I was doing a panel called Anime Year in Review, and I put a lot of work into this because I wanted to do this panel because a lot of if you noticed that over the years, panels at anime conventions have turned a little bit more towards the social side and less toward the cerebral. I'm more of a cerebral anime fan. I want to talk about anime. I want to talk about certain shows. I want to talk about them with people who will appreciate a good discussion, so on and so forth. But, I know cosplay is a huge part of anime conventions. I understand. I have nothing against cosplay. I have nothing against, fashion. I have nothing against, hanging outside and partying. Party cons are great and all. However, there is a small contingent of us who want to go to an anime convention who are, more introverted. I'm not a very extroverted person. This is like a new thing for me. But we want to talk about actual anime from people who are actually watching shows. I would say that a hardcore anime viewer would watch 50 different shows because anime is a huge industry. There's over 100 shows that are released every single year, and nobody talks about most of them after each season is over. But that's how large the industry is, and I feel at anime conventions you don't get that discussion anymore because it's very hard to find someone who will put on that type of panel. So I did. So I have a 1-hour panel, Anime Year in Review, where me and my panelists talk about each show for exactly 1 minute. There's a timer. It's a presentation. There are over 60 PowerPoint slides. Each one, takes, maybe 10, 15 minutes to make because I have to find a good screenshot and so on and so forth, right? So it's a lot of work. And because it's timed, I need the entire panel time to do this panel. And I told people. So an hour going into before my panel, it starts at around, I think, 7 or 8 p.m. My panel's lineup was the longest out of all of the panels that were happening in my time slot. So it was absolutely huge. It snaked around the waiting area in the second floor of the Plaza Ballroom. Okay. So when my panel started, you know what they did? They started letting all of the panels with shorter lines first, because if you don't know the layout of the upper floors of the DoubleTree International Plaza / Delta. It's like a little thin corridor with about 5 meeting rooms. So
No, I totally, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So let in all of the people who are going into the lesser panels first, because they made up an excuse that they didn't want anyone in those lines to butt into the big line, the Anime Year in Review panel.
Really?
So here's what happens.
Okay.
They let in my line, and 20 minutes have passed. I am now 20 minutes late into my panel because I didn't want to start the panel without them inside, without everyone present, because I think that's a disservice to the fans. We could have started the panel early, but I didn't want to because, again, a lot of people came just for this panel. It had grown a following. It was my third year. Yeah, my third year doing it at Anime North. So we filled up the room. It was all good and all. So here's what happens. Obviously, because we started late, my panel went overtime.
Okay. How much overtime, if I'm asking?
Well, that's the start. It's going overtime. And so this staffer comes in and keeps insisting that I have to wrap up the panel. And you know what I said? I said, no, you let us in late. My panel is 50 minutes. I timed it to 50 minutes. We are going to get 50 minutes, whether you like it or not. So then after the fine, I said, no, like literally screw off. All of these people in the room, all the fans, over 100 of them, all of them want the panel to continue. Please go away, and you could just move whatever panel was next to another room because they had spare rooms going on. But no, this person was on a power trip. Came in multiple times to kick me out, and then finally 15 minutes late into overtime. I simply just said, I give up. You know what? Whatever. I'm just going to end the panel right here because you're telling us to leave. So the panel was ended about 3 or 4 panels short, so 3 or 4 minutes before it was actually supposed to end. Okay. And everyone in the room booed the staffer, and they booed her very loudly for a moment, and then they all left. And then the panelists and we got a standing ovation for lasting this long. So that was it. The next day, the game show coordinator, who was not Ken. There's one person above Ken. Ken is the second in command.
I know who you're talking of.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention his name because I don't think he's worth mentioning. Again, I agreed with Krem that I'm not going to mention anyone unless they're actually brought up. This person, the coordinator said that this staffer had reported me because she was harassed. And I'm like, what? She was harassed. I'm like, are you absolutely fucking serious? And I said, I have video proof that this is not harassment. I videotape all of my events for a situation like this. And it was ridiculous. And they said, because of that, because you disobeyed a direct order, you're not welcome to host any more events anymore at Anime North. Now, I'm going to go back a little bit because I was 95% sure that 2018 would have been my last year anyway. There was some previous drama that had happened before Anime North 2018. First off, I wanted to extend my reach and do my game shows at other conventions. And Anime North has a specific buzzer kit that I have used exclusively for the past 5 or 6 years. So
and I heard about this, yeah.
I want to purchase this. I want to purchase this equipment so that I can go to other companies because nobody else is using this equipment, and nobody else is using this equipment. I want to purchase off it. Otherwise, I'll just buy my own kit. And for some reason, they were absolutely angry at that I would have the nerve to offer buy the equipment off of them because they thought that they just had me as an exclusive, and they were upset that I would be going to other cons and doing this anime speed tune at other cons using this specific equipment. Because at this time, between 2017 and 2018, I didn't live in Toronto. I lived in Cornwall, which is near the Quebec border, and I could not go to the Anime North staff meetings because I have an excuse because I'm far away. So I said, I want to sit so that I can do conventions without having to beg Anime North every single time, and they refused. And they were actually upset for some reason that I would even dare ask them to purchase the equipment. They said, no.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Okay.
Wow.
Then, before Anime North 2018, one of the staff members had a baby.
Oh, well, congratulations to them.
Right. It's going to lead into drama. That staff member posted the baby pic onto the Anime North Compass, which is the Facebook group for announcements.
Yep. You got it.
What I did was I replied back and said, this is not Anime North news, and also the baby cannot consent. And then I linked to a website which explained, maybe it's not so good to share baby pics online. The thing is, that's completely reasonable. Like I wasn't, saying, I wasn't bashing the person who posted it or bashing the baby itself. I said, maybe this is not such a good idea, posting your baby pic in front of thousands of people.
I agree 100%. Yep.
Great. So the person who posted the baby pic, the mother, DM'd me and DM'd a lot of profanity. She's like, fuck you,
what?
How could you say this? And she's an executive, right? So I was thinking of actually posting the contents of that DM onto here, but I'm like, no, it's just one person. I don't want to give that person the respect.
Okay.
And but she said she DM'd me a lot of profanity. This is a fellow staff member, right? It's like, don't even interact with me anymore, you fucker, or something like that. And actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Give me a no, actually, no, forget it. I was gonna read the exact concept, but you know what? Forget it. What's more important? Yeah, what's more important is that at the next staff meeting, because I had moved back from Cornwall to Toronto, so now I'm back living in Toronto again. At the next staff meeting that I attended, I went into the boardroom of doom, like Ron has already brought up. I thought I was going to be the one who brought this up, but no, I went into
welcome to the Salem witch trials.
Yep, I went into the boardroom of doom with Ken and Eileen, just us three.
Oh,
and they confronted me about this post.
Oh my god, you're gonna be fucking kidding me about a post?
I'm like, and at that time, what happened was they actually fired me on the spot right there before Anime North 18. But Ken was crying. Ken was in tears. And the thing is, I know you were fighting for him, but Ken said he couldn't really defend me on this, and I kind of understand because Eileen wields all the power. She's a power hungry banhammer. What Ken said was she was going to make a negotiation and said that I could redo my game shows at Anime North 18, but I could not be staff. I needed to do the game shows as a volunteer. And volunteers are basically staff without the perks. So no hotel room.
Yes.
Yes. So that's the difference. Do all the game shows as punishment as a volunteer, and then if you're on good behavior, we'll reinstate you as staff in 2019.
So I have to ask y'all.
Fuck. Sorry to hear about that. Continue, Crumb. Sorry.
Go ahead, Crumb.
So yeah, I have to ask y'all. Because this stuff is like falling in line with a lot of rumors and shit that I've heard for many years. Mm-hmm. Why the hell would anyone want to volunteer for this fucking convention?
Because again, it was the only one in town. It was the only game.
Well, allow me to jump in there, but please, Gimpy, continue forward with your thought before I jump in.
So I consider that offer to be an absolute insult. So right then and there, I said, I refuse. I am not going to do my events, and you take all my privileges away because you are butthurt about a single Facebook post that I posted, which wasn't even inflammatory. No, I refuse. I stood up to leave. Eileen then gruffs out, walks out. In comes Irwin Tan, the chair of anime. So he's the number
Okay.
one. Eileen is the number 2 or 3 because there's Donald Simmons, Eileen McAvoy, and Irwin Tan. Those are the big 3. Those are the big 3 executives. So he's trying to soft talk me into doing this. And after a little while, because we had a good heart-to-heart talk, because I think Irwin's a lot more. You can carry a conversation longer with him than with Eileen. Irwin agreed to keep me on staff for that year for Anime North 18. But again, at that point I was shaken that I had decided at that point that I would do Anime North 18, and then I would probably move on to Otaku-thon full time because I didn't need this bullshit. I was doing it for free.
Yeah.
Otaku-thon actually pays panelists and eventists $20 per hour of programming that they do.
Oh my!
So it's like, I'm like, that's not much, but it's a token, but it's awesome, right? So it's like, I'm gonna do. I had a hunch that I wasn't going to do any more Anime Norths after this, so I designed Anime Speed 2 and Anime North 18 to be the best ever. I held a Hall of Fame ceremony for the 2 greatest players, giving them trophies. I bought a trophy with my own money, which was to be reimbursed, after the con. But eventually, it was out of my own money because I wasn't able to reimburse anything because I had left staff. But when going back, so now when the gaming coordinator confronted me in a back hallway with the accuser, stating that I was no longer welcome to do events at Anime. I'm like, fine by me. Goodbye, toodles. It was nice knowing you, because at that point it didn't shock me. I wasn't gonna go in tears. I knew that if I can't do my events properly at a convention, then I don't want to work at that convention. You didn't let me do my panel. You didn't let me do my panel. You didn't let me do my events. That's the only thing I ask. I don't ask for anything. Like, I would have kept doing this, my panels and events at Anime North. All you had to do was give me the goddamn time. Just, I shouldn't be punished for holding events that are popular. I was punished because my panel, Anime Year in Review, got over 100 people, and you started the panel late, and you didn't let me finish. And that's ridiculous. You have an obligation to back up. And this is because Anime North wants to stuff in as much programming as possible. Like, other conventions usually have like a 15 to 30 minute lead time, in case something goes over, if there's technical difficulties. No, Anime North doesn't do that. It gives you 50 minutes, 10-minute wait time, and if you run out, tough shit, right?
Well, my experience, go ahead. My experience with that is because, isn't it for a majority of their panelists and programming that they charge that you have to have a pass for?
Yep, you're absolutely correct. Plus, on top of that, something I like that as well is that one of the few things about yours truly, especially getting to your earlier question, is that why did I get involved in Anime North? Is that when it came down to it, it was quite simply at that point in time the biggest player on the board. And the thing is that it just offered so much opportunity to move forward with. And the thing is that either you're not part of that particular aspect of things, or you're simply left behind. And one of the few things that when I was running from back in the day is that, again, something that our dear colleague mentioned here, it came down to just simple time of things. And the thing is that, again, when you're running a convention such as big as Anime North, you're going to have a little bit of spillover from A to B. And the thing is that they simply have the cushion to take care of X, Y, and Z. And the thing is, I'm quite surprised that our colleague simply didn't have that. And that is very unfortunate.
What I really want to hammer in here, and I really want the listening audience at home to think about this too. There are plenty of options. This is not 2003.
Yeah,
this is not like 1999.
Or
There are plenty of options, and Randy just mentioned in chat. Wait, so you do have to pay for a panel pass if you're doing a panel? Yes.
Allow me to answer this very quick. A pass costs $60, Okay, 50 if you pre-register, but now it's 60 all the way.
Yeah.
You get your pass back if you do a whopping 5 panels.
Oh, it used to be 3 back in the day.
If you calculate this is below minimum wage. That's $12. That's $12 an hour. So 5 panels.
Yeah.
To compare,
you have to do pass.
Yeah. Oh, to compare, Otaku-san gives you your pass back after 3.
Yeah.
IFFT, which I will cover sooner, gives you your pass back after 2, because they respect the panelists more.
Yeah.
5 panels.
Honestly,
that's why there's so many low quality, low grade panels. Not just the climate change panel, but other fluff that I won't even bother to mention.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So you have to buy passes to be a part of the panels.
Yep.
And that's a requirement.
Yep.
So here's the question. Here's a question for everybody out there. This is not 1999. This is not the only player on the board. What is stopping literally anybody from going to a different comic book convention or a different anime convention or a different fandom convention?
Well, I guess what it comes down to it from this end of things is that it all comes down to brand recognition, I suppose. But however,
it's not about the brand though. We have already established in the short period of time that we were talking about it, there is no brand here.
Well, the thing is that you ask what was the difference between A and B, and the thing is that it's the difference between red and blue. And the thing is, when it comes down to it, I think it all depends on what the individual's mindset is. Because the thing is that between our event and AN or Fan Expo, or whatever the case may be, it all really comes down to what the individual feels comfortable with, I suppose.
No, what I'm going to propose here is strictly entertainment value. All right? Look at what Anime North brings. What do they bring to the table that is their own original creation? The answer, spoiler alert, is nothing.
Yep. I was going to say Metacracy. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the thing is, people can go to Otakuthon, but I think the absolute minimum budget for Otakuthon is that if you don't even go into the dealer's room, it's still going to set you back $250. That is, $60 for the bus to Montreal, from Toronto to Montreal, $60 for the pass, and the rest for a hostel. Maybe less if you bunk with other people in the hostel, but it's still going to set you back $250 minimum. Recommended, I would say 500 to 1,000. But for Anime North, a lot of these people who go, they're minors. They can just spend the entire weekend, $50 for a pass. They don't have to have any. They don't have any other expenses. It's cheaper, and also it's free if you just stay outside and do the social thing.
So we have a couple of things in chat here. So Randy brings up a really good point. In Charlotte, North Carolina, at Ichiban Con, they give you the pass for free if you're doing a panel, part of the media, or volunteering. At Kitchener Comic Con, if you are a guest, we only ask you, it's not even a requirement, we ask you to do 1 or 2 panels, and that's it.
Yep.
And you get your pass, you get everything for free.
Yep.
You get your table for free.
Yep. And
not
that's
even a pass.
$200 expenditure from our perspective type of thing, because we don't.
When it comes down to a pass, if you want to be part of panels and stuff like that, we look into that as well. If you do an X number of panels, you get rewards for that. Erratic Assassin says, I didn't know about Anime North's shortcomings before last year when I was interested in going. I did research to find out how bad it was, and most people don't do that though. Absolutely correct.
Yep.
Because in my experience with Anime North, most people find out about Anime North from their friends, or people that volunteer there, or people that are staff.
Yep.
Because people, from what I understand, you guys can say yes or no on this. From what I understand, people on staff are told to bring their friends to Anime North.
Well, in my case, it wasn't really brought up like that. It was sort of like, hey, look, do what you can type of thing. And that was all part of the hubba type of thing. But one of the few things I found out is that if you were ahead in a certain department, as an example, let's take me as an example, because again, I'm my favorite subject, is that I heard through PAX, you were paid between 10 to 20K a year just to be a part of that. And the thing is that if you were bringing that much of people, that's totally understandable. But at AN, nope, not at all. And as I mentioned before I had my old little crying fit type of thing, it's like here I am struggling with what I had to go through. At the same time, not getting a single fucking dime back. And it's just astronomical.
There's a difference. There's a difference here, right? Because we do the same thing for Kitchener Comic Con. We don't make $1 back. But
of course, but
Anime North makes handfuls of money. I'm sure, and Otakuthon makes money, and they pay their people.
Yeah, so, like $20 an hour type of thing. Like holy fuck! If I was getting that for $120 per week, Jesus Christ, crap.
So what I'm saying is here, why do people allow conventions like Anime North? Because I'm sure Anime North's not the only one to do this. Why do people who know the system is broken, who participate in the broken system, continue to perpetuate that and also push down new initiatives?
I can answer that.
Hit it.
There's been a growing amount of Anime North backlash, but to meet that growing amount of backlash, there's also been an equal amount of censorship. If you post on certain forums about Anime North's shortcomings, people who support Anime North will delete your post. Some of these forums are controlled by staff. Of course, the official one is controlled by Eileen. So if you post anything negative there, you're going to get deleted and banned. But the Facebook groups, they're controlled by Anime North supporters. The Reddit groups, they're controlled by Anime North supporters. And that's the thing. There isn't a real platform for people who are upset about Anime North to voice their concerns. There's some upset people who just post on 4chan, but of course that's 4chan. No one's going to take that seriously.
No, totally agree.
There isn't a place on the internet where people can just criticize conventions in general, like not just Anime North, but just post their feedback about conventions. Now there is a website called animecons.com, which has a database of all of the conventions that are running, but that's purely a database. You cannot really give feedback on it, and nobody uses it for that anyway. So I think that's the thing. Like,
spoiler alert! We're currently on a platform that can criticize conventions.
What? Yeah. Which one? Which one is this?
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? So someone volunteers at Anime North, has a shitty time, and tells their friends, don't volunteer. It's a shitty platform. But that's all that ever comes out of it. As long as there are new anime fans, of course there's going to be new anime fans because anime targets the youth. A lot of youth just, they watch Attack on Titan for the first time. Oh God. Stand up, right? So I think that's Anime North's strategy. Like, there's going to be some disgruntled old fogies like me who hate the system, who hate everything involved with it, and quit and move on to other things. But there's always going to be that new supply of fresh blood who don't know any better, who are young and innocent. They think that volunteering for a con is great, and then they'll recruit those people, and it's just a cycle that keeps continuing.
Well, and we've spent a little bit of time bashing the skull in of this cold corpse because it's not happening this year. Bottom line, it's not happening this year. So now that we know that this year Anime North, and I think this is part and parcel, because like you're saying, it's a cycle. It keeps going. This year, the cycle's breaking.
Yep.
It's breaking because of the pandemic. There's no way around it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the injection of new blood coming into Anime North and that excitement to keep going, right? So could this be the end of that particular thing? Do you think it could last a year? Or do you think that this is the end of the cycle?
I think that no matter what, Anime North is still going to pull in numbers because Anime North has shifted from a convention that had, the hardcore anime fan stuff like Hulko Momoi, Anisong guest artists, to a more casual party geek fandom convention, like Yowie North, Doll North, and so on and so forth.
Well, did you also notice that they changed fans? So they changed who they were catering to. They moved from Victoria Day weekend to Memorial Day weekend because they seem to not really care that much about Canadian dollars. They care more about American dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Strategy. Yep. And that's been around for at least a while, for goodness sakes. I remember back in the day, especially when I was running the gaming stuff, again, everything was on Victoria weekend because that was a long holiday. You'd come in, spend your expendable cash, so forth and so forth. Then all of a sudden, somewhere along the way, very quietly, kind of got twisted just a little bit. Strategy.
Yeah. But I think overall, Anime North will always attract those who aren't hardcore anime fans, and
of course,
that's fine by me. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to watch 50 shows a year.
Especially how many seasons?
Well, the thing is, I actually don't think it's a huge commitment because that's one show a week, and that's 2 episodes a day. Because each show has 12 episodes. Because now you're at one core thing. So, like 2 episodes a day is 50 shows a year. So
exactly. Yeah.
Actually, not that a lot, unless you're trying to marathon all 900 plus episodes of One Piece.
You know what? I really miss stuff like that. But anyways, please continue. Yes.
Yeah. So Anime North will always have that contingent: the party, the cosplay, the room parties,
the pageantry.
Yeah.
So we're closing in on 3 hours here. So I'm just gonna
no.
Final questions here about this.
I'm going to wrap it up. We can wrap it up at 3 hours.
Final questions here on this one. But so because Anime North has announced that it's going digital this year. And I'm sure this is a last-ditch effort to kind of keep the hooks into people to come back next year, to keep people reminded of what Anime North is, et cetera. They got to be scared. They got to be scared that they're going to be losing fans. They got to be scared they're going to be losing volunteers. All that stuff.
About that virtual con, you might notice that there's another con in Atlanta, Georgia called MomoCon, and it was supposed to be held on the same weekend. It was supposed to be held this weekend, the same weekend as Anime North. MomoCon already has their virtual con, and it's happening right now. They have 2 Twitch channels. They have gaming tournaments with a prize pool of over $3,000.
Holy fuck!
And you know what I'm hearing, and I don't know any. So just take this at face value. Yeah. I've just been seeing what I've been seeing in emails and everywhere else. I'm seeing that Anime North is trying to put together pre-recorded panels. I'm seeing that they're trying to get content creators to submit videos to them for them to broadcast on their own Anime North Twitch channel.
So they'll get Twitch subscribers. So they'll earn money off of your content.
Lame and safe.
I think the panel discussion is another topic for another podcast because I can talk for hours about that. But what is the point of submitting a pre-recorded panel to a convention that'll take your money when you can just put it on your own YouTube channel?
There isn't one, isn't there?
It's a big thunk, isn't it?
And the thing is, again, MomoCon has their virtual con going on right now, and they had about the same amount of time to improvise something as Anime North, whereas Anime North has delayed theirs until the end of July. Like, why couldn't you? Like, MomoCon set the standard for everyone. I think.
Yeah.
They were able to. It's fantastic. Okay, so.
Well, final thoughts then for Gippy.
I am not Anime North staff. However, so I thought my future in doing game shows would just be exclusively at Otakuthon. But there's a silver lining to this.
There is.
At the end of 2018, a new convention suddenly popped up called International Fan Festival Toronto, just out of nowhere, by the same staff who do Anime Revolution in BC. And they said they were looking for staffers, and they invited an Anisong guest at International Fan Festival Toronto, like multiple Anisong guests. So I felt it was time for a new beginning. I applied. The con executive gave me a direct interview, something that never happened with Anime North, and it's a small team, and we had International Fan Festival in 2019, and it was a resounding success. It was completely awesome. But most importantly, the staff are nice. They listen. I can talk to the staff online. If I have issues of something, I can talk, and we have a long chat. I've chatted with the con chair multiple times regarding various matters, and everything is good. This is something that I had never done before with Eileen or Irwin or Donald Simmons, unless it was in the boardroom of doom. Yeah. And they have my utmost respect. And the thing is, it's the first year. It's awesome. I've now made International Fan Festival Toronto my home convention, and I will continue, supporting it and putting my heart and soul into it in the near future.
Well, so how would people go about finding more information about that?
You can go to the website. I think it's toronto.ifanfes.com, or you can just search IFF Toronto in Google. I don't think IFFT will work. You have to search IFF Toronto. It's a small fledgling con. Again, last year was our first year, but because IFF Toronto had the structure, the budget rolled over from the alcohol rolled over from Anime Revolution, they were able to bring in A-list guests on the very first year. And the only downside was that it was held during Easter weekend, and the entire weekend was raining. But next year, it's going to be held in June. And I hope that, and this is, I believe that International Fan Festival Toronto is the competition that Anime North, that Toronto needs, and Anime North has never received.
Well, honestly, competition is something that the entire convention community needs, because the more that there's people pushing each other to make better conventions, the better the quality of conventions that are going to come out of it. So at the end of the day, the fans win, and that's really what matters. Final thoughts for Mr. Hop?
Well, basically, one of the few things I like to offer here is that I would like the opportunity to work with you, because I think you're absolutely fun to talk with. And the thing is, I think we're sort of on the same wavelength with things. So if you have the time to work with us, especially at a little lonely Kitchener Comic-Con, I think that'd be absolutely fantastic.
I would love to work with you, but the thing is, I don't know what kind of panel I would do. Again, the panel stuff is another day. I'm an anime person.
Well, the thing is that energy is energy. Plus, on top of the thing is that, again, there's a whole bunch of other things we could possibly tackle. Like, as an example, I do have a panelist who I work with. And at the same time here, the thing is that we've been looking at broadcasting panels through the different internet channels and stuff like that. So the thing is that it's just a matter of figuring out what type of niche we could both work on and chew on that for a little bit. And the thing is that I think it would be absolutely fun and a fantastic time working with you, because, again, through this 3-hour broadcast, which will only supposed to be an hour, for goodness sakes, we talked about a lot. I went through a little bit of a breakdown, but
literally 18 years.
Yeah, and at the same time here, it's kind of funny, because the thing is that we're both working for AN. We only heard about each other, but never really worked with each other, type of thing. And I think it'd be absolutely a delight to work with you. But however, the thing is, it all depends on your time schedule and what we like to do and stuff like that, which you wish to broadcast. Because the thing is that I'm all about the fun and putting things together. One of the few things about Crumb as well is that she could totally understand where I'm coming from in those aspects of things. And at the same time, it all depends on what you want to do and what you want to done. No drama. Just, again, go back to the early days of AN and just have fun with it, for goodness sake. So, again, we can leave that to settle and to come back to it down the line. But, however, I think it was absolutely fun to talk with you today. And, again, cheers for the time. And at the same time, again, it's not as easy as it is in the front of house type of thing. But at the same time, it was, when looking back at it, it was a lot of fun. And I appreciate the time that I had with them. And I think that's the most important
thing. I will never forget the golden years of Anime North. I will never forget 2003.
Yeah,
I will never forget 2008, which is the greatest, personally to me, the greatest year of all time. And I'll never forget 2014, where I won the AMV competition and I posted Anime for the very first time. So there are a lot of good memories, and it really saddens me to see Anime North become what it is now, where they cut costs, they remove the program book in favor of this garbage, and going woke. So that's another topic for another day, right? How cons are going woke.
Well, we won't talk about cutting cost on this one. One last time, we're going to be shilling the merchandise. No cutting cost on this one. Thank you guys so much.
Show those t-shirts.
Look at this. Look at this quality right here.
Look at
wonderful
that wonderful, magnificent bastard.
Brilliant.
With the red collar.
Brilliant.
That
front and back.
The one thing we didn't cover?
What's that?
We didn't have time to cover the KCC versus AN drama that happened in 2019. We'll do that another time.
That's a whole nother stream.
Was it Crumb? Do we have the time to cover that?
No.
Do you have the time? No. Fuck.
Okay,
maybe we'll put a circle behind that and come back to it. What do you guys think?
This was a day of remembering. This is a day of paying our respects and everything else. Speaking of which, I have another thing just as the outro here. It's gonna be a second here. Just give me one more second.
This was a ton of fun, and I hope all of our fans.
Thanks everybody for watching us, and I hope you stick around for this outro. I promise it's going to be good. As soon as I load the damn thing, it's just going to be a minute.
All right, well, it's been a pleasure, Crumb and Ron, to have spoken with you today, and it really got a lot off my chest, and it was a privilege and a pleasure to be with you today.
Absolutely.
And the thing is that totally link-wise as well. And one of the few things is that I look forward towards us talking more down the road. And the thing is that I do apologize for a little breakdown from earlier, but however, the thing is the bottom line is that again, a lot of things off the chest. And I think that's very important moving forward because a lot of fans don't know about this and the trials and tribulations.
So without further ado, thank you everybody for watching Past, Present, and Future. This has been Canuckleheads.
3 hours.
We're gonna give Anime North a proper send off for this weekend. I can't think of a better way than this. Have a wonderful one, fam.
See you guys. I'm out of here.
1 second. There we go.